2025, and the 42nd meeting of the current term of the Metropolitan Council of Nashville and Davidson County. Will all members of the council, as well as the public, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation is being offered this evening by Pastor Kelly X. Pastor X is the lead pastor of the Village Church in Madison. She is the guest of Council Member at-large Delisha Porterfield. Go ahead.
Let us pause and center ourselves in the presence of the divine. Gracious and Holy One, you who are love, justice, and compassion, we gather this evening mindful of the sacred weight of public service. We remember the words of Jesus in Matthew 25. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was sick, you visited me. When I was unhoused, you gave me shelter. Whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me. So God, help us see you and our neighbors, and the struggling mother who's choosing between rent and food, and the elder on a fixed income, and the child who wakes to the sound of gunshots instead of the school bell, and the immigrants seeking refuge, and those living on the streets of the city longing to be seen, and our LGBTQ plus siblings who face rejection, violence, and silence when they deserve affirmation, dignity, and love. Remind us, oh God, that your image is reflected in every color, every gender, every sexual orientation, every expression of humanity rooted in truth and love. Let this city be safe and sacred place for all, where no one can feel less than and everyone knows they belong. We ask you to cover, oh God, all children, especially those suffering from the ravages of war and genocide. Hold the children of Sudan in your mercy. Shelter the children of Palestine in your peace. Surround every innocent soul with divine protection, and stir in us a holy outrage to refuse to look the other way. May your work be done in this chamber tonight, and may it edify everyone in Nashville. Let every motion, every vote, every debate be grounded in truth, equity, and love. Bless this council with wisdom. Grant boldness to do what is right when it is not easy. May resources be abundant and distributed with grace so that all may thrive, not just survive. And may we never forget to love our neighbor. Our love of our neighbor reflects our love of you. So let us love well, serve justly, and lead humbly. And may we think of you in all that we do, and in the many names that we call you, we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor X. Council and community members, Parks and Recreation Month continues. So we want to express our appreciation to all the employees of our park system and remind everyone to follow our Parks Department and Parks Friends groups and council members on their various social media platforms and sign up for newsletters to be in the know about all the many diverse offerings available all across our city in the month of July and all year round, from community centers to golf courses, from hilltop trails to greenways. We also want to remind and encourage community members to please go online and submit their feedback on our park system as part of the Plan to Play Master Plan update. There is a survey that continues through the end of July. I know council members hope that this updated version of the master plan will be more actionable and accountable as we work with our Parks Board colleagues and department leadership and staff to make sure our park system is the very best that it can be. Speaking of parks and greenways, we know that they are an important part of connecting communities and building a safe mobility network for people walking and biking. And this weekend, on July 20th, Nashville will have its first large-scale Open Streets event. Open Streets will happen on 3 summer Sundays, July 20th, August 17th, is that right? Yes, and September 7th. These events will follow the same all ages and abilities streets and greenways route as the Tour de Nash that several council members and I participated in back in May. So we encourage all Nashvillians to come out and enjoy the summer series of Open Streets. Lastly, council members, as we approach the midpoint of our term this September, you will be receiving a memo from me in the next few days about the timing for nominations and elections and appointments for various committee leadership and other committee and commission membership opportunities. So please do be on the lookout for that in the next few days. Without objection, we will suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to please record the names of the members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of the meeting of July 1st, 2025? Okay. There is a motion properly seconded, and so without objection, and seeing no one seeking to be recognized for a change to the minutes of the meeting of July 1st are approved. Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
There are no messages from the mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk, and happy birthday to you tomorrow, Mr. Clerk. So, we appreciate our friends and colleagues in the clerk's office. We could not do this work without them. So thank you, Mr. Clerk. All right. Section E, appointees and nominees, as we really get into our agenda here. This portion of the agenda shares all persons that were scheduled to appear before the Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee for an interview this evening. Referrals back to the committee will be by rule as part of the council's 2-meeting process for all elections and confirmations. No votes will be taken by the body in this section of the agenda other than for deferrals. Chair Prep T, your committee report, please, sir. First, for any withdrawals or deferrals, if you have any.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. The Human Relations Commission reappointment of Marcus Buggs was withdrawn.
Okay, that will be withdrawn.
Likewise, the Human Relations Commission reappointment of Dr. Amy Crawford was deferred for 1 meeting by a vote of 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay. Are there any further deferrals, sir?
Yes, Madam Vice Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
As well as the National Music, Film, and Entertainment Commission reappointment of Hazel Smith was deferred 1 meeting by a vote of 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. And with that, do I need to move for?
Yes, if you would move for a consolidated motion for those 2 deferrals, please, sir.
So moved.
Okay. Properly moved and seconded. All in favor of deferring these 2, E5, E14, to our next meeting? Chair Prep T, was that it?
Correct.
Okay. Please say aye. Okay. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. With regards to the electric board, with the Electric Power Board appointment of Ian Prunty, as well as the Hospital Authority Board appointment of Alfonso Harvey, Dr. Robert Miller, as well as the Human Relations Commission appointment of, or reappointment of Dr. Amy Crawford Charlton, Kara Ince, Jeff Teague, the Metro Action Commission reappointment of Lisa Buggs, Kanika Covert, Joseph Mitchell, and Veronica Yerby. The Nashville Music, Film, and Entertainment Commission reappointment of Timothy Reed Jr., Willie J. Smith Jr., as well as Jeff Syracuse, all received a vote of 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
All right. Thank you, Chair Prep T. So all those persons who were interviewed today will be referred back by rule for confirmation consideration at the meeting of August 5th. Okay, moving into section F, confirmations. Chair Prep T, you are recognized again for your committee report on the single appointee in the second step of your committee's 2-meeting process.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. With regard to the Human Relations Commission appointment of Alan Sloan, that received a vote of 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. And with that, I move approval.
Okay. There's a motion properly seconded for the approval, or rather the confirmation of Alan Sloan to the Human Relations Commission. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any voting no or abstaining? All right. Council has confirmed Alan Sloan to the Human Relations Commission. Alan, if you chose to return to the council chamber this evening, which is not required, do please stand to be recognized. Alan? No? Okay. If Alan is watching from home or on the replay, we want to say congratulations, and we appreciate your willingness to serve our city. So thank you. All right. Now we're moving into Section G, nominations. Council members will have received a memo from me dated June 30th, and as well announcement from this dais at our first meeting in July regarding a call for nominations to fill 3 vacancies on the Industrial Development Board with terms expiring on August 31st, 2031. This election will be held at the August 19th council meeting. Okay. All right. Yes, please enter the queue to make those nominations. Perfect. Didn't even have to say it. We will go in order. Councilmember Gamble, Chair Gamble, you're recognized for a nomination.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to nominate the Honorable Nancy Van Rees.
All right. Councilmember Gamble has nominated our Honorable Nancy Van Rees, who I see here today. Thank you. Okay. Next, Councilmember Benedict, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. My good friend, Honorable Anthony Davis, is rolling off, so I want to nominate Laura Yankee.
Okay, Laura
Yankee.
Laura Yankee. Councilmember Benedict has nominated Laura Yankee. And we thank the Honorable Anthony Davis for his service. Okay, Councilmember Berkeley Allen, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I would like to nominate Natalie Alvarez.
Oh, okie dokes, all good. Councilmember Allen has nominated
Nancy Alvarez.
Nancy Alvarez.
I'm sorry, Natalie Alvarez.
Natalie Alvarez, okay. Natalie Alvarez. Thank you. Next, Councilmember Quinn Evans Siegel, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to nominate David Ware.
Okay, Councilmember Evans Siegel has nominated David Ware. Okay, Councilmember Delisha Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to nominate Tequila Johnson.
Okay, Councilmember Porterfield has nominated Tequila Johnson. Councilmember Cupin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to nominate Derek Lyle.
Okay, Councilmember Cupin has nominated Derek Lyle. Councilmember Cash, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to nominate Ginger Hauser.
Okay, Councilmember Cash has nominated the Honorable Ginger Hauser. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Webb, you're recognized.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Bob Braswell.
Councilmember Webb has nominated Bob Braswell. Okay, last in the queue for a nomination to the Industrial Development Board is Councilmember Tasha Ellis. You're recognized.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Shawnee Glapion.
Okay, Councilmember Ellis has nominated Shawnee Blackion.
No, Glapion. Her last name is Glapion.
Okay, thank you. All right. Are there any additional nominations from council members? Okay, Mr. Clerk, I know you have recorded these as well. Council has nominated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 persons for the 3 vacancies. Again, that election will be held August 19th after the rules confirmation and Public Elections Committee takes these up at the next meeting. Okay. Your nominees will receive information from the clerk's office. If there are any complicated spellings and so forth, please do be in touch with Mr. Clerk to make sure that we're getting those accurately. Okay, thank you. All right, that concludes Section G, the nominations portion of our agenda. So next, we will move into public comment. Regarding public comment, members of the public who are Tennessee residents wishing to speak may sign up for public comment at the table outside the council chamber from 5 to 6 p.m. on the day of a council meeting. Public comment is limited to 20 minutes in total and at the council meetings, and each speaker is allowed up to 2 minutes to speak. Persons speaking on agenda items must be prioritized to comply with state law. I would like to share off the top, this does not preclude you from speaking on this item if you still wish to do so. But Councilmember Kimbrough has expressed directly to me her commitment to withdraw agenda item 34. And so immediately subsequent to, do you have a point of order? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Allen, point of order. If you please stand for a point of order.
Thank you. Stand for a point of order. Could you also give the bill name, please?
Indeed, I will, yes. And so it is agenda item 34. That is ordinance BL 2025-896, sponsor Kimbrough, regarding a proposed rezoning at 5,000 Ashland City Highway. So again, if you do still wish to speak on that, you are very welcome to do so, but I did want to make you aware that without objection, council members, subsequent to public comment, I would suggest that we pull agenda item 34 forward and take that up for purposes of withdrawal at that time, as we do have sort of a lengthy meeting and a fair amount of kind of public hearings and comments this evening. Okay, with that, we will begin the public comment. I will let you know kind of the next two people coming up so we can kind of keep things moving. As we do have a really full house in the gallery, please do go ahead and come forward for purposes of public comment if you do still wish to speak. First to speak is Macy Fluharty on agenda item 64. This is ordinance BL 2025-872. This is regarding a proposed rezoning for 3187 Franklin Limestone Road, speaking in opposition. Subsequent to Macy will be Claire Norris. So if Claire Norris would please go ahead and come forward, and subsequent to Claire will be Tyler Skelton, if you would please come forward. All right, Ms. Fluharty, you are recognized. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. My name is Macy Fluharty, and my city council person is Aaron Evans. I'm asking you all to vote no on items 64 and 65, the rezoning on Franklin Limestone Road. This bill aims to destroy a forest in Antioch to build an industrial packaging center. We have got to stop treating this planet like it's expendable. If this project goes through, I really hope the promises of environmental codes and storm buffers are honored to their extremes. Is there a process in place to ensure this adherence? The downpour of rain we are seeing every other day needs to be absorbed somehow. We're already at risk of losing more wetlands throughout our state. What happens when we diminish our forests as well? There's wildlife that lives in that woodland, including endangered species. Pollution to the air and river are at risk. At some point, we have to put a value and care into life. This bill has been heavily opposed to by the people that will be directly affected by it. Without the natural dust barrier the forest offers, you are risking the health of people living there. Without the natural noise barrier this forest offers, you're risking their peace. With the over 800 expected vehicles to be driving through their space daily, you are again risking their peace and safety. The way this has been implemented is unfair to the constituents with the level of secrecy and neglect. While you may think this is not your district, not your place to be involved, in the end, it is. If you vote in favor for this, you are voting against the consent of the people living there. Please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. No clapping, please, during public comment. Claire Norris, come forward. You're recognized. Again, after Claire will be Tyler Skelton, followed by CJ Titner. Go ahead, Ms. Norris.
Hello, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. My council person is Mr. Denton. I believe, is it Benton or Denton?
Benton.
He has been very, very gracious, speaking, calling, and talking with me, and I really appreciate that. But I wanted to point out, which I did not last time I was here, in addition to all the safety, the noise barrier being taken away, the dust barrier taken away, the wildlife area being destroyed, the signs that were put up for the hearing last time were taken down during a paving thing. We had paving and they were never put back up. So my concern is that a lot of people will never, even though the papers might have gone out, they might not understand what they were for. They didn't see the signs and didn't understand what was going on. And I also wanted to note that across the street from that right now, there is an asphalt plant, a second asphalt plant going up, which will indeed add to the number of trucks going up and down from Antioch Pike and also Murfreesboro Road. They're going to come from that way, whether you tell them to or not. So that's been our concern, a lot of concern with no sidewalks, narrow streets, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Tyler Skelton. Are you Tyler?
Yes.
Okay, speaking on agenda item 34, this is ordinance BL 2025-896 regarding a proposed rezoning at 5000 Ashland City Highway, speaking in opposition. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Tyler Skelton. I'm a resident in District 1, Councilmember Joy Kimbrough's district. The proposed rezoning was just withdrew, but we're still here and we want to express our disapproval of it, and who knows what will happen in the future. I did want to first address the fact that the last time the deferral was contingent upon there being a community meeting. We never had that community meeting. Joy, we'd really like to connect with you on this property and properties going forward in our community. And I just also wanted to mention that our community of Bellsbend, Scottsboro, is not asking for special treatment. We have always just been asking that the law be upheld in this rezoning proposal. This was a disapproved bill. Both the zoning board and the planning commission have already voted no. This has gone to General Sessions Court. They have also ruled no, which should carry real weight tonight. And your vote, which you won't have on this parcel, was always about precedent. If we allow developers to proceed without proper approval and then ask for forgiveness later, we are sending a dangerous message to our that our zoning laws and operations are optional and that business owners can operate outside the rules with impunity, even at the expense of our communities and neighborhoods and the city's integrities. So moving forward, when these types of situations, we always will encourage you to vote no on rezonings and stand with the community, the law, and due process.
Thank you. Next is CJ Titner. Following CJ is potentially Rebecca Engel, Kathleen Wolf, and Brenda Butka. If you intend to still speak on agenda item 34, please do come forward. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Good evening. Thanks for giving the local community a chance to talk tonight. My name is CJ Titner, and I'm a resident of District 28 on Mullen Circle. Here tonight just to continue to express my strong opposition to the planned rezoning. I was at the council meeting last week, and as I stated, road safety on Franklin Limestone Road is extremely important.
Mr. Titner, if I just may clarify for the council members, I know you said Franklin Limestone Road, but I should have indicated you're speaking on agenda item 64. Go ahead, sir. Sorry. I'm not going to deduct your time. Keep rolling. Thank you.
Okay. I guess I'm really talking about 72, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you CJ Titner?
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item 72?
Yes. I guess I signed up for the wrong one then.
Okay. It is agenda item 64.
Sorry,
it is ordinance BL 2025-872 regarding Franklin Limestone Road. I'm sorry to have interrupted you, sir. I was supposed to state off the top what you were speaking about, so please continue.
Sorry
Go ahead.
About that. Yeah, as I stated at the last council meeting, road safety on Franklin Limestone Road is very, very important. This road is by definition a back road and not meant for heavy use, even though it currently has a high number of cars using it. It's narrow, it doesn't have shoulders, and it's widely used to access the highway on Harding Place. With at least 800 expected trips per day coming from the warehouse, even when right turn only is required, I'm worried about road safety, as well as any sort of hindrance for emergency vehicles trying to reach nearby residents. Another major concern that was brought up a lot is air quality and public health. With the large amount of trees that are being cut down for this project, residents will lose the natural air filter these trees provide from dust and pollution created by the nearby mineral extraction companies. Also, last meeting, I mentioned that Councilman Benton wrote in his letter to the Planning Committee that most residents were in support of this, but I feel that that statement is incorrect. When this went to Planning Commission, there were 64 written comments in opposition to this rezone and only one letter in support from Councilman Benton. Although there's just a handful of residents here tonight, I want to acknowledge that we only represent a small percentage of the people affected and opposed to this. Both my street and the Highlands of Piccadilly neighborhood are made up of at least 200 households within a half mile to the proposed plan. I would argue that the people here tonight speaking in opposition only represent the residents that have the time and flexibility to come and speak. To conclude, given the close proximity to dense neighborhoods, I really don't see this rezoning as strategically located and having no net benefit to the nearby residential area. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Rebecca Engel speaking on agenda item 34. This is ordinance BL 2025-896 regarding 5000 Ashland City Highway in opposition. Go ahead, Ms. Engel.
Thank you. My name is Rebecca Engel. I'm a District 1 resident. I live right around the corner from the Walker trucking parking lot. I'm a little confused as to whether this has been completely withdrawn or deferred.
No, ma'am, let me clarify. We are still having public comment. I wanted to express off the top Ms. Kimbrough's commitment to me to withdraw this bill. And that will be done subsequent to public comment. We will pull that agenda item forward. So it has not technically been withdrawn at this time. That's why I welcome you still to speak on it, but I just wanted to make folks aware of that commitment, which will be effectuated subsequent to public comment. Go ahead, please.
Okay, then I will proceed as I would have anyway.
Sure, you're welcome to.
I could talk about our community's long history of grassroots planning, the countless meetings we've had with the planning department over the past decade, and the many development proposals that we have fought in order to preserve our rural way of life, not just for us residents, but for all who have come to love and appreciate what the Bells Bend Scottsboro part of Davidson County has to offer. But tonight, we're not asking for recognition of our past efforts. We're asking for you to uphold the law. Walker Trucking violated zoning regulations. This bill has already been disapproved. The zoning board said no. The Planning Commission unanimously said no. Now it's your turn. We're asking you to stand with the community. We're asking you to respect the process, and we're asking you to vote no on this rezoning request. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Kathleen Wolf. Are you Ms. Wolf?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Speaking on agenda item 34, ordinance BL 2025-896 in opposition, followed by Brenda Butka. And then after that, Joseph Engel. If you still wish to speak on 34, please do come forward. Go ahead, Ms. Wolf.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to live somewhere where I have the freedom to express myself this way. 2 weeks ago, when members of my community and myself were here, and we spoke in opposition to this bill, and there were those who spoke in favor of it. There was some back and forth, and there were lots of, I would say, misrepresentations about things that could be clarified. I just want to clarify one, though, actually two, which is that Mr. Walker has claimed that he was not aware of the fact that this piece of land, which is zoned AR2, rural agricultural, he was not aware of the fact that he could not do something industrial. And the truth is that he wasn't acting alone. In fact, he had attorney Ton White and civil engineer Roy Dale at his side. And these are two people who clearly know zoning and codes inside and out. So, you know, what was really going on, we don't know. What, you know, was it planned so that the land could be rezoned from agricultural, which would really boost the value of it? Or, you know, we don't know. Lots of unanswered questions here. But again, I would say it's questionable as to whether Mr. Walker was honestly and authentically representing himself and his motives. And then I also wanted to say that our council person had mentioned at the last hearing that Mr. Walker was helping her a lot by clearing some of the trash off of Clarksville Highway, which I think is a very noble, wonderful thing to offer. And, but it doesn't make this parking lot legal or appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Brenda Butka speaking on agenda item 34. This is ordinance BL 2025-896, speaking in opposition. Go ahead, Ms. Butka.
Yes, it's hard to know for us to know what's going on or what's happening here, but here we are.
This is public comment.
Yes.
Yes.
I know that much.
Okay.
I live right around the corner. In fact, I can see this parking lot during the wintertime when the leaves are not on the trees from my kitchen window. About 3 years ago, this is just a little background on Mr. Walker. About 3 years ago, Mr. Walker was cited for using his Ashland City residential property as a quarry after many neighbors complained about loaded dump trucks and blasting. Exactly like he was doing here, he then asked for an industrial rezoning. When this was denied, he and his lawyer sued every council member on the city council in Ashland City and about 20 neighbors who had spoken up against the problem, about the problem. This is a pattern of illegal land use and a pattern of an attempt at retroactive rezoning. Vote no if you get the chance on the illegal dump truck depot. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Butka. Please no clapping. Mr. Engel, you will be next. And let me please take the time to say that following you will be Majid Keshawani. And then after that, Mannon Hall. And so Majid and Mannon, if you would please come forward. Mr. Engel is speaking on agenda item 34 as well. This is Bill 896 in opposition. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. I live in District 1 and in Scottsboro. And I just want to read to you from the agreed upon facts from the Environmental Court from the February 25th hearing of this year. As a response to codes which investigated this site and found 7 violations, the court found the following. At no time has Metro observed agricultural activities taking place on the property. Metro asserts that the property is being used not for agricultural purposes, but for defendant's commercial trucking business, which is commonly known as Walker Trucking and Excavating. The Metro zoning administrator, Joel Hargis, has categorized defendant's use of the property as, quote, building contractor supply, unquote. Building contractor supply is categorized as a, quote, industrial use and is not permitted on the property zoned AR2A. On June 17th, 2024, stop use work orders were put on the property. Upon information and belief, defendant removed the posted stop work use orders. Upon information and belief, defendant has continued to illegally use the property. A warrant was filed in this matter on October 9th, 2024, alleging the violations of the Metro Code. I don't have time to read them all, but suffice it to say the Environmental Court closed this operation down except for refueling in the gas tank area every day from 4 to 6. And the court will rule on that once this body rules on the SP. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Next is Majid Keshawani, speaking on agenda item 64, ordinance BL 2025-872, regarding Franklin Limestone Road in opposition. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, council members. Has this ever happened to you? You got a plate of your favorite dessert, mine's chocolate chip cookies, but when you go to grab one, you find that someone you trust, someone who should know better, has eaten every single cookie. That feeling of frustration and heartbreak stemming from the disrespect shown to you is similar to what local community members feel toward Councilman Benton and his rezoning proposal and its companion bill, BL 2025-873. The forest targeted by these proposals reduces flooding, combats noise and air pollution from the nearby quarry. It protects a neighborhood of working class, largely Hispanic families who already have it hard enough. It is a neighborhood that studies have shown need more trees, not fewer. On top of the disrespect of this proposal, there's a lack of transparency that leads to an erosion of trust. The community hearings from this proposal were communicated quietly, and community members were largely unaware or unable to attend. That's like the aforementioned cookie thief claiming they asked for permission to eat them, but they whispered it in another room while you were doing something else, and they took your silence for agreement. Finally, my understanding is that this forest will be torn down to build a warehouse. Not only will this increase pollution, it will clog roads with trucks and vans in an area where this is already a major safety concern. It's like Councilman Benton not only ate all the cookies, but decided to replace them with the worst candy imaginable, candy corn. So to summarize, this proposal is disrespectful to the local community, erodes community trust, and the outcome is gross. At the very least, I expect the council to defer a decision until Councilman Benton addresses his failure to engage with the community. But I urge you to vote no so the neighborhood can continue to benefit from its forest. In other words, stay away from our cookies, leave the forest alone.
Thank you. Next is Mannon Hall. After Mr. Hall, Grace Ann Bendelle, we have sufficient residual minutes. If you would like to speak on agenda item 64, please go ahead and come forward. Mannon Hall is speaking on agenda item 20. This is resolution 2025-1369 regarding a personal injury settlement. He is speaking in support. Go ahead.
Hey, yeah, so I think this, if you read this, it's a good thing to pay out for people who are injured by our lacking infrastructure. And I just really want to point out that we knew about this issue months and months and months in advance, and we did nothing. This is just part and parcel for how our city deals with infrastructure. And I know that you guys here care about that and want something to be done. And so I urge you to continue to care about that and submit your own hub requests because, well, hey, somebody out here could get a payout. I really would like for us for this not to continue to happen. I think our funds shouldn't have to be paid out all the time, and instead that we actually keep up with our infrastructure. This was one pole that we could have replaced, but for months it wasn't. I also would like to speak on Limestone really quickly. I used to live over there, and I unwisely, as someone without a car, would walk on this road. This is an extremely dangerous road. Unfortunately, due to WeGo access, it's not a great area to live if you want to ride the bus and you have to walk really far. So I just really would prefer this road to become more dangerous. And then, yeah, I just really want to know what candy corn is actually made out of. What is that?
All righty. Last is Grace Ann Bendelle, speaking on agenda item 64, ordinance BL 2025-872 regarding Franklin Limestone Road in opposition. Go ahead, you're recognized.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Would you please pull the mic down a little bit closer to your mouth, please, ma'am? Thank you.
Thank you. From the very beginning, we were not notified as far as our homeowners association, Piccadilly Square. But weeks before our councilman, David Benton's second community meeting He came to a Piccadilly Square Homeowners Association meeting. It was spontaneous. He asked our president if he could come by. So he absolutely knew where the community meeting for our area should have been held. He also had the attention of a full room of his constituents who he had the opportunity to discuss the merits, if any, of the rezoning that affected them. He chose to stay silent on this issue, then held another community meeting after attending our meeting in another district at a much smaller location that would not accommodate us, nor were any of us invited in a timely manner. This is how it started. So I had called Mr. Benton 2 days beforehand, an evening, and found out there would be a meeting. There was no time to get any invites out to anybody. I got a couple other people to come, and that was it. They all sat around one table, most of them suits. There was more of them, the attorneys, the developer, the owner. But we have like approximately 700 in our neighborhood. They were not invited. That's how we started. That's the only community meetings there's been. But yet he knew where we held our meeting in Antioch. We have a big one. We had 12 round tables full and chairs only. There was not even a half dozen people other than there. So it's not, we have not began in a good way. But as far as Franklin limestone, it is extremely dangerous. When I go down there, the mailboxes are mowed down. There's accidents all the time. Sorry.
Thank you. No apology necessary. Thank you. This concludes our public comment. All right. So our public comment period has concluded. Council members, as I stated prior, it is my suggestion that we pull agenda item 34 regarding 5,000 Ashland City Highway, sponsor Kimbrough, that's ordinance 896, forward on our agenda for purposes of intended withdrawal. Is there any objection to pulling that item forward on our agenda for consideration? Okay. With that, I do need to read it into the record, Ms. Kimbrough. So council is now taking up second reading, agenda item 34, ordinance BL 2025-896, sponsor Kimbrough. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from AR2A to SP zoning for property located at 5,000 Ashland City Highway, approximately 914 feet north of Old Hyde Ferry Pike. This is 5 acres to permit building contractors supply uses. Sponsor Kimbrough, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to withdraw the bill.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. The bill is withdrawn. All right. That is all we have to do in that regard. So for members of the community, it being withdrawn means it is no longer on our agenda and will not be moving forward in the process at this time. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kimbrough. All right. Okay, so now we will proceed and go back in our regular agenda order. Next is our agenda section I. This is a bill on third reading and public hearing. Okay, we have a single bill on public hearing this evening. Spanish interpretation services are provided for all Metro Council public hearings. Council Office team member Karina Valdez is here as the interpreter. Ms. Valdez, will you please share how you can help?
Los servicios de interpretación en español estarán disponibles en la audiencia pública.
Okay, gracias. We appreciate you. Okay, so the item for public hearing is agenda item 1, ordinance BL 2025-846, sponsors Coupin, Johnston, Webb, Hancock, Nash, Huffman, Stiles, and Allen. This is an ordinance amending Title II of the Metro Code of Laws, authorizing the creation of a downtown central business improvement district and appointing a corporation to act as an advisory board to the district with the necessary powers and authority to carry out the purposes and intent of the district. All right. Councilman Coupin, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Okay, I will declare the public hearing open. Let me state as well, for those wishing to speak this evening as part of the public hearing, please do state your name clearly, but it is not required for you to provide your exact address if you do not wish to do so. Okay, you may want to tell us in what neighborhood you reside, what your connection to this agenda item is, or who your council member is. Okay, again, I declare the public hearing open. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Okay. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hands? Okay. Will persons wishing to speak in support please come forward to the podium? Persons in opposition will speak after those speaking in support. Okay, depending on the number of folks speaking in support, we do ask that you line up, and Ms. Hayes here on our staff will give you instructions in that regard. Please do not block the ingress and egress from those doors, okay? So if you are queuing up, you may want to remain seated for a while if you don't have to stand for the whole time. But if you'll please come forward to speak in support first, please. All right, go ahead. You are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Councilwoman and members of the council. My name is Malik Gay. I live in the Gulch. I'm the VP of Livability over at the Chamber, but today I speak as simply as a neighbor and someone who believes in the Gulch and lives in the Gulch. First, I want to thank Councilman Coupin and all the co-sponsors for your leadership on this bill. Your willingness to invest in the places where people live, work, and connect that matters to us. The Gulch is much more than a tourist destination, and for thousands of us, it's a place where we call home. I've lived here for years. I've watched it grow into a neighborhood with real spirit, a place where families walk together in the evenings, small businesses open up their doors with pride, and residents feel not just safe, but welcome. That experience doesn't happen on its own. The Downtown Partnership has already been part of shaping that reality through cleaner streets, landscaping, safety patrols, and the kinds of small but vital services that build real quality of life. As a resident of the community you're voting on today, this expansion is about continuing that momentum. It means a more cohesive, better served community, not just for tourists, but for the thousands of us that live here, who work across Middle Tennessee, who shop and eat in our own neighborhoods, and who care about what it becomes. I'm also immensely grateful to the businesses in the Gulch who asked for this investment and are stepping up to fund it. That's real partnership. This is what community looks like, and tonight we urge you to vote yes, to unify the Gulch with the downtown district and strengthen what already works. Our neighborhoods can continue to thrive. Well, probably shouldn't have said that. As always, council members, thank you for your time, your service, and your commitment to our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, go ahead.
Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor and council members. My name is Dirk Mson. I'm the president of Market Street Enterprises. Market Street is the original Metro designated master developer of the Gulch neighborhood and has been leading the Gulch redevelopment project for about 25 years. Of course, the Gulch looked a little bit different 25 years ago, didn't it? Back then, in 1999, the late Steve Titner purchased 8 acres of abandoned, contaminated railroad tracks from CSX when the Gulch was not so clean and safe. Back then, he had a vision for an urban neighborhood driven by the desire to make a lasting and positive impact on the built environment, to remove urban blight, build community, and improve the quality of life. We carry on his vision today. One of the ways we did that was the creation of the Gulch Business Improvement District along with the Downtown Partnership in 2006. Back then, there were less than 100 residents in the Gulch. There were 2 office buildings. There was no hotels. There were a handful of restaurants. Simply put, the GBID's Clean and Safe program provided critical services to encourage investment in the neighborhood. I think it's fair to say that's happened. Today, the Gulch is a wonderful community, largely as a result of the Nashville Downtown Partnership's dedicated efforts to keep the neighborhood clean, safe, and attractive. Those services today are more critical than ever as the population has grown and demand for services has never been greater. So as the largest property owner and the largest property taxpayer in the Gulch District, we wholeheartedly support the merger of the CBID and the GBID to create a sustainable and lasting future for the Gulch community. Therefore, I respectfully request your support and appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Please no clapping. Go ahead and come forward. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tony Gerotana. I've worked with many of you. I've had the pleasure of working with our mayor as District 19 councilman for 8 years and Jacob Coupin since then, and worked with many of you, such as Berkeley Allen and others, on housing issues downtown. I moved to Nashville in 1984 and wanted to live downtown and learned that there was no housing downtown. I did find a place, and along with some other illegals over here, there are about 10 of us that live downtown and really enjoyed it. So in 1993, then Mayor Phil Bredesen asked that I begin developing residential downtown. We started with the Cumberland. It was a very difficult project, very challenging, but we got it done and followed it with Viridian. That was the first apartments downtown and the first condominiums downtown. As the downtown residential community grew, clean and safe became a big issue for us. So we've been working on these issues now for going on 4 decades. I can tell you that the Nashville Downtown Partnership and the Central Business Improvement District have been very pivotal, working with Metro Council, working with the mayor's office, working with all the Metro departments to ensure that downtown is a clean and safe environment for our residents, which is also translates for our visitors and our downtown neighbors. So I ask you to vote in support of the expansion of the CBID. I can tell you from personal experience that it has been a very, very positive influence on our downtown neighborhood, and I ask you to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
My name is Johnny Moore. I live in District 25 and work in downtown in District 19. The level of cleaning and safety services need to keep a busy downtown such as Nashville thriving as a thriving destination is critical. Many cities would love to have a vibrant downtown where they could attract tourists and that would feel safe and have a good time. Please don't take the great downtown Nashville has for granted, because many, many cities would love to have that. I know it's a lot of noise and people can think about all the negative things, but a vibrant downtown is critical to any growing city. I'm the chairman of the Downtown Partnership, and what we do in terms of keeping downtown Nashville safe and clean is critical, because people don't go anywhere they don't feel safe. And the first part of being safe is looking at something that's clean, well lit, and inviting. And that's what we have at downtown Nashville. You talk about the Downtown Partnership. We remove about 400,000 pounds of trash annually. Pressure wash 600,000 linear square feet of sidewalks. Those are the critical things that people look at when they come and say, hey, this is clean, this is safe, I want to be here, and I'm going to spend some time here. But it's just critical that you just understand the import of what the CBID does, and it's not just an organization sitting around collecting funds. It's making an impact on this city that every prominent city comes to see how why is Nashville so different from other major cities. And it's because of commitment for organizations like the Downtown Partnership who make a difference and create experiences. That's what Nashville is about, creating experiences that others want to emulate to take home. And that's why Nashville is so attractive. So please don't take this opportunity for granted. Make sure the CBID is expanded and to continue resources.
Time is concluded. Thank you. Next, please. Please no clapping, y'all. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Saw some of you last night. My name is Annie Claver. I'm a master captain with the U.S. Coast Guard and a commissioner for the Transportation Licensing Commission. I live in Councilmember Benedict's district and have worked with Councilmember Coupin for about 10 years on all sorts of river stuff. Before selling and exiting my company, River Queen Voyages, in January, I was the first owner of a downtown river recreation company in Nashville. Due to lack of funding and other priorities, myself, my crew, and the other outfitters became the default safety patrol and cleanup crews on the east and west banks of the river. Over a decade of time, since 2015, among other things, we have performed river rescues, assisted unhoused people on the riverbanks in and around Old Tent City, and cleaned up things like litter, bodily waste, and broken glass from the embankments. I would ask for cleanup and patrol help and was tossed around like a hot potato, being told it was the responsibility of Metro Parks. No, it was Public Works, now NDOT. No, it was Parks Police. No, it was Metro PD. For years, nothing was being done. In the short time, the Nashville Downtown Partnership has begun their efforts on the west side, where the Business Improvement District is located. I and the other outfitters have already noticed a marked difference. Indeed, our season pass holders, who paddle with River Queen year after year, even mentioned unprompted how much better the west side looks than the east side now. The NDP truly cares about keeping the Central Business Improvement District safe and attractive, and providing much-needed assistance in underfunded and underpatrolled areas like the riverfront. The proposed expansion of the CBID to areas adjacent to downtown will allow an extension of services to enhance the safety, cleanliness, and vibrancy of downtown Nashville for our growing downtown resident population and the millions who visit our beloved city. I respectfully encourage you to support BL 2025-846, and I'm grateful for your leadership and service to Nashville.
Thank you. Claver, go ahead.
Hi, my name is David Euing, and Jacob Kubin is my council person. Thank you, Vice Mayor Henderson and members of the Metro Council. I give tours for a living, and they're mainly downtown, so I walk the streets of downtown all the time. Our tourists are amazed about the cleanliness and friendliness and how we present ourselves. Kind of like a job interview every day, what the Downtown Partnership works on. They look clean, smile, firm handshake. That is the first impression that Nashvillians get too, that live here. And I think it's very important that we continue this momentum. My old friend Steve Turner, who we lost last year, was mentioned earlier, and he had a vision of living downtown when hardly anyone did in the 90s. Actually, Tony mentioned that he lived down on 2nd Avenue in the 80s. It was literally illegal because zoning was all commercial and there was no residential zoning downtown. But what the partnership has done, they have a true partnership. It's a public-private partnership. It's a partnership with residents. It's a partnership with businesses. It's a partnership with tourists. It's a partnership with Metro. A lot of people think of downtown being Lower Broadway, but it's so much more. We have 4 music museums. We have the Fritz Museum. We have the State Capitol. We have this building. We have TPAC and the Ryman and the Skirmahorn. We have 2 courthouses. And, of course, the Music City Center. And, of course, my church is downtown. So as we take care of this city, we have to take care of all of this. And Steve Turner would be so happy that this is expanding to the Gulch, the area that he cared in. Last thing I want to say is I see the unhoused community all the time. They get friendly smiles, and they get wellness checks from people that work for them. Most people don't really acknowledge them daily, but they do. A woman that used to live on my street, 6th Avenue, they found her family in Texas, and they reunited her after living on the street for years. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi there. My name is Kelly Hodges. I'm the Chief Development and Engagement Officer at Gresham Smith, and I'm also the Vice Chair of the Nashville Downtown Partnership. Our firm has been a corporate resident of downtown for over 30 years, and I've been an employee downtown for over 25. The Downtown Partnership and the Business Improvement Districts directly align with our core purpose as a firm to create healthy and thriving communities. The work that the Downtown Partnership does for the residents, for the businesses, for the tourists, and for Metro really is second to none. We have 25 offices across the country, and Nashville is by far one of the best places for us to host clients, to attract talent. And without the work of the downtown partnership, I'm afraid that could potentially go away. As Johnny mentioned, we have a very vibrant downtown that a lot of other cities really are envious of. And when we travel to some of our other office locations, they continue to talk about that. So we ask for your support and appreciate your leadership here today. And thanks for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Go ahead. Next, please.
Good evening. My name is David Andrews. I live in downtown in Councilman Coupin's district. I also own a bakery, DeAndrews Bakery and Cafe on Church Street, so I am on the front lines of this. I'm here to sound my support for the Downtown Partnership and tell you their amazing services they provide. I have obviously owning a bakery, I have pretty early mornings, so it's always amazing at 5 o'clock that I get up and they're already power washing the streets, and I think that's amazing. I can also tell you that people who come to the bakery every day, flight attendants, tourists, they all say the same thing. We have the cleanest downtown in America, and I thank the Downtown Partnership for that. They do a great job, and I'm here for their support.
Thank you. Next, please. Y'all, please don't clap in between every speaker. I've asked several times now. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, good evening, members of the council. My name is Isaiah Henderson. I'm an outreach worker with Nashville Downtown Partnership. I spoke yesterday, and I'm speaking today on what outreach does. I mean, you can see what we do for the businesses and our neighbors downtown. But I stand here today not just as a supporter, but as someone whose life was changed. I was homeless, I was hopeless, and they found me. What this team does every day is nothing short of life-saving. Every day they show up for our unhoused neighbors in downtown Nashville. Hundreds of individuals who once lived on the streets have found a path forward, reclaiming their lives with dignity and purpose. And right now, I know I can name at least 8 people of our very own employees, incredible people that I work beside every day who used to sleep on these same streets. They're now working, housed, and they're thriving. And that's not just a statistic, that's a testament. We've seen pregnant women doing months get in a treatment and get the prenatal care that they need. We watch people come in broken and walk out believing in themselves again. And this isn't theoretical, this is real. And it's happening every day. There's a narrative that we're doing the wrong thing, and that's just not true. The truth is, you don't see people doing what we do. You don't see this kind of outreach, compassion, and consistency. This work matters, it's hard, it's human, and it's necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead and please come forward. Y'all who are queuing up, please make sure you're not blocking the doorways, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
I knew that was going to be hard to follow. Just saying. Thank you, Metro Council members. I'm Lisa LeClaire. I'm a local resident in Councilman Parker's district. I am a member of the Convention and Tourism Commission and leader for the Greater Nashville Hospitality Association. I've lived in Nashville now for 35 years, and the Nashville downtown landscape has changed dramatically over those last 20 years, especially adding somewhere near 20,000 residents in both the Gulch and the downtown. As a representative of the hospitality industry that supports conventions and visitors, combined with the number of residents and other locals who enjoy coming to downtown, including me for shows and restaurants and sports events, this CBID provides additional resources to support the city's services of clean and safe without taking away resources from other neighborhoods in the cities. We need to continue to focus on keeping all of our cities safe, clean, and welcoming for everyone to enjoy. The area of the downtown and Gulch, they increase beyond capacity of what could be reasonably expected of the resources the city can provide in the downtown core, especially when you look at big events and concerts and sporting events. The funding is produced by property owners and visitors and does not detract from other neighborhoods in the cities. We appreciate your support for continued efforts and keeping the city safe and clean. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next.
Good evening. My name is Dee Patel, and I'm a downtown resident. And
I work downtown. I've managed the Hermitage Hotel. I know many of you all here. I have been downtown for over 20 years, and I have seen firsthand how much care it takes to keep downtown clean, safe, and welcoming, and not just for our visitors, but for the people who live and work here every single day. The CBID, supported by downtown property owners, has played a really important role in this effort, helping keep downtown vital and dependable asset to the city's overall success. Not every city can say that about downtown, but Nashville can. For that reason, I support the intent of this legislation and propose expansion and ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. Thank you, Councilman Coopin, for supporting this bill. My name's Ryan Keene. I'm the chair of the board of the GBID. And I live in a gulch as well. I recently read an article that posed a concern about the privatization of public spaces. And, you know, to me, the collaboration between the local government and business owners and property owners and end users is privatization. And I'm all for that. And that's evidenced by the cleanliness and the safety that I enjoy in the Gulch. I also, and I'm for expanding that to other areas of the city that might get slightly underfunded. So I'd also like to mention that the GBID, who's voted by residents and businesses in the Gulch, voted to merge with the CBID and expand. So just wanted to point that out as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Go ahead and come forward. You're recognized. Thank you.
Good evening, council members and neighbors. My name is Mel Bind. I live in the Gulch in Councilmember Coopin's district, and I'm here to express my support for the expansion of CBID. My wife and I have been residents in Nashville for 33 years, and we have lived in the Terrazzo building in the Gulch since 2009. We and our children owned and managed Bond Coffee Company and the Icon for 4 years. And as a member of the GBID board for several years, I've participated in the decisions that help make the Gulch a better neighborhood. I've seen detailed operations of how this is done as managed by the Nashville Downtown Partnership. And it is my signature on the board's resolution submitted to you several weeks ago. When we began discussing combining GBID and CBID, I was enthused but skeptical. I pulled out a spreadsheet, did some analysis as other board members did. We had many extra meetings to review this. We looked at the benefits to our property owners and visitors, as well as the cost to be borne by the residents, commercial property owners, retail establishments as tenants, tourists, and guests. After much discussion, it became very clear that expanding CBID into the Gulch would be the best path forward for us. The Gulch has become a world-renowned neighborhood in the heart of Nashville. Please note the recent article at mansionglobal.com just 2 days ago about the Gulch. This is thanks to the vision of Market Street, the work of GBID, and the help of this council. Today, we ask you to help us again by agreeing to this expansion, an idea supported by the board, who's been elected to represent the property owners in the Gulch. And we ask you to help us to continue to take excellent care of our neighborhood and continue to make downtown Nashville a great place to live, work, play, and invest. Thank you in advance for your support.
Thank you. Go ahead.
My name is Christopher Carlson. I am the managing director for Ambridge Hospitality here. I live in Germantown, so Mr. Coopin is my council member over here. So we have 3 hotels downtown in the CBID right now, the Sheridan Grand, the Holston House, and the Holiday Inn Suites. And I will tell you, the entire teams that I have of almost 500 people do nothing but love working with the people from the NDP and everybody through the CBID. Would like to also say we have 2 hotels that would be in the GBID area, which we'd also love to see the support that we currently do not get currently there now. So for us, and my home base is out of the Sheridan Grand. As you guys know, it's definitely a busy area and a busy opportunity over there. And since the NDP has taken over the Church Street, there's been nothing more than great engagement across the board. It is a very safe environment for all to be welcomed. There is great programming, and I can only imagine what's going to be done with the Gulch and with the GBID. So we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Michael Klein. I'm the general manager for the Holston House, right in the heart of the Central Business District. And I like to think of the downtown partnership really as the connective tissue for businesses and residences. They take the time to listen, they identify the issues, and they hear what we face every day. And having personally worked in 3 other major metropolitan cities, New Orleans, Austin, and San Antonio, I would just echo the comments that we truly have a privilege here with the efforts of the downtown partnership and the resources that are brought to bear to create a very safe and welcoming environment for not just the visitors, but for the people who come downtown every day and work here. So thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Next, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Adam Reese. I'm the director or operation manager for Block by Block, work for Nashville Downtown Partnership. I've worked for the partnership now for going on 15 years. As crazy as it sounds, I started the outreach program from ground up, and now I'm a safety manager. I manage our safety operations on Broadway as well as our outreach. That is said, to let you guys know, is outreach is our main priority. We don't want to see anybody go to jail. We don't want to see anybody not downtown. We want everybody to have the resources that they need. And to be honest, the partnership has given us the opportunity to do that for 15 years now when there wasn't affordable housing in Nashville, which I know there's a lot of people in here that agree, and there's still not. They took their own funds and rented 12 apartments that nobody else had. I have the amount of resources that I have because of these business owners and property owners in the CBID is unheard of in any other department, any other outreach that you can ask for. So I please ask you to expand this so that not only can we get more resources, but our people that are in the Gulch can get more resources. Like I said, I mean, just taking money out of their own budgets to be able to rent apartments at market rate. This is not subsidized housing. This is not going to a friend of theirs. This is literally giving us the ability to make housing that did not exist before. So thank you guys for everything that you guys do, and thank you for hopefully giving us the ability to do more. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Bobby Smith, and I am the Executive Director of Restoration Point, which is the nonprofit that works out of McKendree United Methodist Church that started back in 2010. We provide meals twice a week for our unhoused, which the number is above 200, which right before COVID, we were serving about 90, 95, but we're up to about 200 now. We also give out clothes each week, and then part of the church we converted into a temporary shelter. And Garrett Tanner and his company came over and helped us in that space by renovating it. We certainly appreciate that. The downtown partners have played a key role in terms of what we were able to do there each week. Some of the guys who have come into our program, they have hired them and helped them get off of the street and into, their own homes. We certainly appreciate that. We also have some of the employees currently who take their lunch break and come over and help us serve our unhoused neighbors during the week. And so we're thrilled about, what the downtown partners are doing. Here recently with the public library closing, a lot of our unhoused individuals have sort of, what we've heard lately, set up in an encampment in front of the church. And we've gotten a lot of calls, and I think Councilman Cuban has gotten a lot of calls too. He called me the other day and asked, have you noticed any unruly from the downtown partners in terms of how they've handled, these unhoused individuals? I've been there for 9 years, and I have never seen them, mishandle. They treat them with respect and treat them with dignity at the times that we've asked them to come and help. So I would say support,
Thank you. Go ahead, next.
Good evening. My name is Jeanette Barker. I am an employee of the Nashville Downtown Partnership in District 19, of course, and I reside in Council Lady Euing's District 34. We have a lot of numbers always at the Downtown Partnership that are really impactful, and I just want to repeat for some of you or state for the first time a few really important ones. And Downtown Partnership does like to think of ourselves as a unified voice representing all stakeholders downtown, and that is a very diverse group. Today I'm speaking for the 3,500 and up property owners, 21,000 residents, 88,000 downtown employees, and untold millions of downtown visitors who appreciate and really stay because of a clean, safe, active, and attractive downtown. And the Davidson County taxpayers who appreciate the downtown contribution to the Metro tax base, which is nearly 12% of property taxes for the county and nearly 19% of retail taxes for the county that are collected in downtown's 2 square miles. And specifically for the 3,500 property owners in the special assessment district who pay their property taxes and then assess themselves an additional amount for clean and safe services. Before you is a bill regarding the assessment district, simply to expand the geographic boundary of services by about 20% and combine the Gulch bid and the Central bid. The assessment district was first established downtown in 1999, not long after we got zoning for residential, and has consistently delivered a clean, safe, active, and attractive downtown. I love what Mr. Euing said about partnerships, because that really is what we do. We couldn't do any of this by ourselves. We're a public-private partnership. And for the above-mentioned stakeholders, I respectfully request your thoughtful consideration.
Thank you. Is anyone else seeking to be recognized to speak in support of this legislation as part of the public hearing? Okay, seeing no one, we are going to move on to persons wishing to speak in opposition. If you would please come forward and line up along the wall near the door, but not blocking the door, please. Please take the guidance of our staff member, Ms. Hayes, so you don't block ingress and egress. All right, first person in opposition, please quickly come forward. Go ahead.
Hello. I'm Spencer Sharp and I live in District 5. It's important that we do not rush the expansion of the Downtown Central Business Improvement District. The Nashville Downtown Partnership have failed to submit annual financial reports for 21 years. The Nashville Downtown Partnership have subcontractors who've left potentially flammable materials in the library parking garage that have, at the very least, escalated the tragic fire last month. The Nashville Downtown Partnership have hired a subcontractor that hires off-duty Tennessee Highway Patrol officers to harass and arrest our unhoused neighbors. I don't believe it's an extreme statement to say that the Nashville Downtown Partnership have recently not been great partners. These are serious things, and there have been a serious lack of transparency and lack of oversight on the Downtown Partnership. I urge all of you to vote no on giving the Nashville Downtown Partnership more power while these issues remain unresolved. Or at the very least, vote in favor of Councilman Parker's amendment number 1, adding council oversight to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please, go ahead and come forward.
Good evening, council members. My name is Charlie Weingartner. I live in District 7, but I have worked in both the Gulch and downtown extensively. While I generally support the concept of a bid, I have serious reservations about expanding the powers of the current operator, the Downtown Nashville Partnership. Instead of granting expanded authority, the DNP should be on a performance plan. The DNP has not been good stewards of Nashville. They've purchased over 900 one-way bus tickets for Nashvillians. Our mayor ran on urging us to stay. They've had private police forces arrest over 300 Nashvillians. Besides power washing, they lackadaisically respond to their beautification and safety duties. They have shirked financial oversight for 20 years, and they have put public safety and city assets at risk. The consolidation of the downtown and Gulch bid is brought to you out of convenience, not necessity, and not out of a greater desire to bring positive change to our city. As the elected stewards of our city, I urgently ask you to vote against this. If you truly considered tonight's invocation, you'd recognize that the DNP has not been acting with truth, equity, and love. Granting them expanded scope and authority now is premature and ill-advised. Again, they should be on a performance plan, not given greater scope. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Krings, and I'm co-founder of Open Table Nashville. I want to begin by saying that our problem with the bid isn't the bid-funded outreach work. Some of the downtown outreach workers have worked hard to build trust with folks on the streets and with other providers. Our problem is with the use of policing and private policing to address homelessness. It's with the soft policing of the Downtown Partnership's ambassadors and the hard policing of the private security firm Solarin, both of which operate with no oversight and no accountability. Please hear just 2 quotes from our friends on the streets who couldn't be here tonight. The first is from my friend Victoria, whose adult son with disabilities was arrested by a THP officer downtown for obstructing the passageway. She said, "You can't be here, you can't be there, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's always what we can't do and never what we can. Where are we supposed to go? We're human too. What do we need to do to get housing? Move to a large camp that OHS wants to close?" Our friend Tyler, who was harassed by ambassadors, kicked awake by THP officers, and arrested for sleeping outside a downtown church, said this, "I see new buildings going up all the time, but the city doesn't want us in them. We're harassed every day by police and people who don't want to help. We are human. We're not something to throw away and discard like trash. We deserve to be helped and taken care of to try to get back up on our feet again." 10 years ago, my friend Dr. Sekou Franklin said that Nashville was being built like a playground for the rich and a prison for the poor. This is exactly what's happened. Don't keep proving him right. Please say no to this expansion and consolidation of the bid. We must ensure stringent oversight and accountability so Nashville is accessible and welcoming to all. And please don't equate cleanliness with equity and justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening. My name's John Lozier. I'm a constituent of Mr. Capps. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I've spent my entire professional career working on issues of homelessness. First, I started the Downtown Clinic and some other services that still exist here in Nashville. I went on to become the founding director of the National Healthcare for the Homeless Council. And now I serve in retirement as the chair of the board of Open Table Nashville. I'm very proud of that. So you're hearing a different perspective than you heard from the business community, looking up from below from many of the speakers on this side of the issue. The Downtown Partnership uses Solarin, a private security company with a bad record, to help clean up downtown Nashville. Its approach is ineffective, clearly, at least when it comes to reducing the presence of unhoused people among us. You cannot arrest, jail, bus away, move along, or bully people into disappearing from the streets. Such interactions only further traumatize people whose situations none of us can really grasp, whose trauma is already so deep. Those interactions disrupt what meager supports people already have, what they've established in our community, and they increase the instability in people's lives. Through Solarin, the partnership actually aggravates and perpetuates the very real problem of homelessness. We understand that the partnership also uses other contractors and its own staff for many very important, gentler interactions, and we're grateful for those. But nowhere in their approach does the partnership focus on the real solution, homes. Somehow the dysfunctional practices have gone on for years with ever-increasing budgets and no oversight from the council. Do you think that these millions upon millions of dollars that you have so blindly spent?
Thank you, sir. Your time is concluded. Your time is concluded. Thank you. No clapping, please. Come forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. I'm Jane Steinfels Hussein. I've lived in Nashville for 35 years, and I'm a homeowner in District 6, Clay Caps District. As a taxpayer, as a Nashville taxpayer, I feel strongly that my tax dollars should go to constructive solution of our city's real problems and not to cosmetic hiding of those problems. I understand that in busy areas, especially entertainment areas, there will be people, occasional people who are unattractive, maybe obnoxious, maybe aggressive, even possibly violent. Those people are usually drunk tourists, occasionally neo-Nazis, but sometimes people who are having real medical, emotional, or psychological crises and actually need help. And we have learned over the years that enforcement always needs oversight, but this law does not require oversight. And I hope that everybody will vote against it. Downtown Nashville is now getting full of empty, gleaming apartments that are empty because almost no one can afford them. What we need in Nashville is planning and not greed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, Mike Lacey, Councilmember Benedict's district. I just kind of have some observations that I haven't shared too much. It's just, the whole thing's very weird because we talk constantly about the downtown partnership, but they're not the entity that's receiving it. Like, they're a vendor, and I feel like that distinction isn't really made, is that they are supposed to be hired by the district management corporation who is receiving the funding. But, you know, in 2011, there was an audit of both of the bids, and one of its observations was that the district management corporation doesn't have a specific methodology for selecting vendors, competitive bidding was not utilized. And so it's like we all know the deal is they're the same thing. You know, it's they're on the same people on the boards, so they're not going to select different people to be on it. And it's like, it's a scam, guys, you know, and it's been a good one. So I think like what is really kind of like in the room is there going to be like a political shift to be willing to have different people have authority on here and to spend money differently? And, you know, we understand that this seems existential for the Gulch bid because it is sunsetting and there's anxiety over not getting enough votes to perpetuate it, which might mean that its time is up. You know, it's you do have the authority, it seems, to go through council, but like, are you forcing it on these people? They have 30 days, by the way, to rescind it with 34% vote of if 30% of the parcels disagree with it. But yeah, we keep talking about Nashville Downtown Partnership, but they can and should be fired by the DMC if they don't do a good job. That shouldn't be a big deal, you know? Block by Block might lose their contract, but they're not going to because it's the same people. And like, that's a huge problem.
Next.
My name is Macy Fluharty and my city council person is Aaron Evans. I have concerns about our city's use of BIDS, Business Improvement District Services. Finding out that my tax dollars are used to further police and harass our city's vulnerable unhoused population was very disappointing. Over the past year or less, we have seen a large uptick in unhoused people being arrested from the streets just for existing. After the news of these bids focus on policing broke out, I now understand how this brute removal was made possible. This type of policing is not effective in preventing homelessness. Outreach does, which I am happy to hear that this is also a service included in this program. So why are we also policing our unhoused neighbors to this extent? I'm asking you to, instead of investing in these shady private corporations, to invest in our city where this responsibility was originally held and to honor that responsibility. Invest in our volunteers that are working towards solutions to help our unhoused neighbors. We need to lessen the focus of policing unhoused people and push more for outreach in its place. If you vote yes on this bill, a yes vote for Councilmember Parker's amendment is imperative to ensure we have proper oversight of these operations. It's necessary, especially considering the illegal acts already emerging from our corporate partners in this service. We can do this work instead of passing the buck to criminal corporations. It's already being done by local organizations that could use the support that you are voting away to these corporations. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Go ahead.
My name is Barbara Thomas, and I live in District 6. I'm here today to speak against the expansion of the bids and more specifically to voice my opposition to the prospect of the Downtown Partnership getting any more public funds. The Downtown Partnership received $19 million in revenue in the last reported year alone and spent $19 million. But where did those millions go? Well, the compensation of the CEO, Titner, in that year was $500,000. They certainly didn't spend the money on properly storing gasoline. The deeper issue, though, is this shadow police force of theirs that targets our most vulnerable neighbors. It shouldn't be lost on anyone here that a quarter of the population of Nashville is Black, but OHS reports that more than half of the people experiencing homelessness in March 2024 were Black. Targeting unhoused people for harassment disproportionately hurts Black people. It is a policy that is inhumane. It is a racist practice. It doesn't matter if the reason is because they are Black or because shoppers don't like being reminded how hard it is to afford housing in Nashville. The real consequences are racist. Over the coming years, we will see the dramatic holes in our social safety nets rip wider and wider. People cannot afford to live in this city. People cannot afford to rent, or they can't afford their property taxes. People are taking out loans to buy groceries. Building a Nashville that only people from California can live in is not going to save us. We need to think about our neighbors who've been forced onto the streets. We need to decide if they mean more to us than business interests that target Nashvillians. I urge you to vote against this expansion and to work towards a Nashville that serves the people who live here and not the businesses that prey off of and exploit us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, go ahead.
My name is Deluvio Palazzolo, they, them, living in District 14, and this expansion cannot be considered. If you're a council member daring to say you represent your people, you need to vote no. Corpocracy is not a good look. It is the same colonial energy we have seen for 5 years on Turtle Island, and corpocracy is exactly what is forming before our eyes. Any improvement that comes without the consultation of the real people of Nashville, Indigenous folks, renters, working class folks, unhoused folks, and community leaders, that bolsters the power of Solaran and off-duty officers who continuously show they are the threat to our safety, comes with continuous abuse and disappearing of our unhoused relatives, bleeds Nashvillians dry while creating a haven for exploitation, dumps millions of dollars into an entity that benefits no one while we are forced to beg for crumbs to keep the city together, skates by on over 2 decades of absolutely no accountability, results in people getting hurt and the community losing access to incredibly important parts of our social fabric through neglect and damage, literally prioritizes business and tourism over people, land, water, plants, and animals, the parts of our world we actually need to survive, puts a corporation in charge of advising on changes that impact our daily lives, and comes with the continued colonization of the land, is disgusting and improves nothing but the same pockets that are benefiting off of our deaths. Just think about that. This is land grab, gentrification, and it cannot be considered. What needs to be considered is actually returning the land to Indigenous stewards and working on how to get community resources back to the people that make this a city worth living in. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, members of the council. Good to see everybody again. I want to thank a lot of the previous speakers, really on both sides, but I really think the issue that I really want to address is we have to find some way to coexist, poor people and everybody else, to live together. I wish Charlie Strobel was here to talk with you. You know, years ago, we had a group called the Homeless Power Project, and we tried to go get some people from the downtown areas to sit down and talk with us to figure some way to move forward so we could coexist. We came to a meeting and they were there and we couldn't engage with them. They did not want to talk with us. And that is the problem. is that we have to find solutions. I hear problems all day long, but I want to find solutions to come forward. I don't want to have people in the downtown feel like they have to shoo poor people away, call for service. Hey, police, there's a homeless person on the street corner. Can you get rid of them? That's not a dispatchable call. We're a better community than that. We need to find some way, and I know housing is very expensive, and I know Adam Reese spoke earlier. I know Adam Reese, I know Tom Turner, been around a while. But we as a community have to find a path forward that works, because poor people are not going to just disappear. And we can't arrest our way out of that. I think some people think that they can, but you really can't. We have to find a humane way to move forward. And I hope the Downtown Partnership can work with the rest of the community and find a path that works. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next.
India Pungarcher, District 20, and I'm also the Associate Director of Advocacy, also at Open Table Nashville. And in my role at Open Table, I have to say no to people every day, and I say no to people who have nothing, and that's really, really hard to do. And today, we need Metro Council to just for one day say no to downtown entertainment and tourist interests that have way too much power and influence in the city. Saying no to this piece of legislation isn't going to remove our bids or our ability to have bids, but what we need is Metro Council to exert the few accountability measures that it does have. And if we can't do that now, then when? What else needs to happen in order to inspire this body to say, no, you can't continue business as usual? If it's not bid contracted private security and off-duty THP officers arresting 13 people experiencing homelessness under our felony anti-camping law last fall, if it's not a whistleblower coming forward saying that he left because while working at Solaren and contracted downtown for our bid, he was operating under a directive explicitly to arrest people experiencing homelessness but leave drunken tourists alone. If it's not an explosion either started or at least made worse by canisters of NDP's fuel in the library parking garage, if it's not violating Metro code since 2004 and not seeking this body's review for their annual budget, if it's not any of these things, then what exactly will make this body pause and provide oversight? And I'll end with this question. Are we propping up a system that spends literally millions of dollars annually to ward off threats to safety or to ward off threats to profit? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, go ahead.
Hey, y'all. Stephen Watts, District 10. So today, while I was listening to everyone speak, I saw a lot of people who spoke in favor of this agenda item that normally I agree with on a lot of things. People who I consider friends, people who I talk to. And I saw service providers also who work for Nashville Downtown Partnership talk about the benefits. And all I could think is I wish that they were working for a better system than this, that they were not wrapped up in a system where they are asked to provide for people on the streets and to treat people with compassion. And then the other arm of their organization is shipping people out of town. During, the Trump administration, we've come up with a lot of names for things that have been really important. We've talked about when we take migrants or we take people without a place to go and we put them on buses and ship them away from family, right? We've talked about that as human trafficking. And it's important to note that what is happening here is also human trafficking. And just it happens to happen in the name of growth. Right? We talk about ICE, we talk about secret police, people who are not wearing uniforms, who are going and grabbing up our neighbors, and that they are doing so and violating people's constitutional rights. And what's important here is we have people talking about that we love privatization, which is basically talking about taking basic human needs and turning them into vehicles for profit. And what we're talking about is human trafficking, we're talking about private policing, and we're talking about in the name of growth. So I'm from New York City. I'm about as pro-growth as you can be. When I talk about downtown Nashville, I always talk about, man, I can't wait until this grows. And the question is not about growth. The question is about what kind of growth. And how come growth here always has to happen in opposition to accountability and human rights? And I just wish a better system for our unhoused neighbors and for our service providers in the back who spoke in support of this.
Thank you. Little mic time there. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. My name is Miller. I'm a resident of District 11. So I'm not a business owner. I am a homeowner. Up until recently, I was a renter. And like I imagine a lot of you, I am much more likely to end up sleeping in a camp where I'm hastily removed from where I live for a fireworks display than I am to stand up before you and describe my booming business and success. Hearing a lot of the speakers today, I'm sure a lot of you might feel kind of squeamish. It's like, you know, settling an argument between two friends that you trust, that you know are good people. The downtown partnership expansion isn't accountable. The downtown partnership is not accountable in a way it should be. You've heard a lot of great reasons why that is. I hope that looking at this expansion that all of you can take into consideration that maybe this needs to go back to the drawing board. I think what Councilmember Parker has put forward to try and provide some accountability is a really good start, but maybe it's not enough. It's going to disappoint some people, but I think that looking at who stands to lose what here should be something in the back of your mind while you consider this. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, y'all. I'm Seamus, and I'm in Tom Cash's district. As Nashville has become the it city, our most marginalized communities have been ignored and pushed out. The downtown partnership has been a central force in this trend. While downtown has undeniably improved in the past 30 years, it's clear that this change has come at the expense of many people in the city. Now, right now, Nashville's in desperate need of oversight and support. The reins of power, as always, need to belong to the people. The partnership goes against this tenet of representation and transparency, and so that's why so many of us are coming here and asking for y'all to pump the brakes for a minute. No matter what y'all do here tonight, none of this is going away. We can take another couple of weeks, a couple of months to pause and see what we need to do as a city to ensure that downtown serves everyone, whether it's people who own businesses, people who work in businesses, or people who live down there. Behind all these statements of safety, cleanliness, and friendliness is the horrific nature of displacement. Everyone here wants a vibrant Nashville, and I want to share that vibrancy with everyone. However, we can build a vibrant Nashville without mandating displacement and incarceration. We must build a Nashville with working class people at the focus, not solely businesses and tourists. For every statement from the partnership claiming they do the work of support and outreach, I want y'all to pause and look at trusted orgs in the city. The most trusted homeless advocacy group in Nashville is not the partnership. It's Open Table Nashville, and they are here today saying no to the expansion. This is not a question of just displacement of homeless people. It's a question of displacement for all working class people in Nashville. We need to say no to giving businesses and tourists even more priority. At what point will y'all draw the line? At what point will transparency and working Nashvillians be prioritized on this council? Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hey, I live in 3. The downtown CBID's annual budget has not been approved for 21 years, and it still hasn't been approved for this year. I've spent a lot of money at the businesses downtown that spoke, but this isn't about the existing CBID. By the way, this is about the Gulch, the G-bid. The G-bid needed a solution because their bid would expire. Their bid required reapproving it every 10 years. But the board didn't think they would be able to get through enough condo votes to meet the needed percentage of return votes. Ultimately, the G-bid decided that it would be easiest to merge. Who voted to merge in the G-bid? Elected board members? If they're on the board and want to stay on the combined board and stay in good graces, shouldn't they vote for it? What comes with the merger? A tax, a fee, taxation without representation. Unmarked police cars and cops arresting in public spaces? That's ICE. Is ICE in the room with us? Where is the backlash? This is not an inevitability. They can come back next year to expand it if it's so important. They should play right for a year. If they're gonna take on more responsibility, why can't they document all these things that they espoused earlier? I believe a lot of them, but others are like, I want to see that. Instead of arresting homeless folks, like they used to do, they should house them. Instead of lobbying and succeeding to remove a bike lane, they should promote and push through mobility improvements that make Nashville safer. They're dissing your authority. They showed up. They didn't provide excuses or say sorry. They've kept lying. It was said that they could decide to hire someone else instead of the Nashville Downtown Partnership if they wanted. How and why would they do that when they're board members on both boards? Thanks.
Thank you. Next, please.
I'm Angus. I'm a 10th generation Nashvilleian, and I care deeply about this city and all of us who call it home. I'm speaking in opposition for many of the same reasons my neighbors have already so eloquently expressed. Many of the businesses represented by this partnership are owned by folks who do not live in Nashville. Many of them serve people visiting our city for only a few days. It was recently reported that the partnership was contracting with an out-of-county security firm to partner with the militarized arm of our authoritarian state to arrest our most vulnerable neighbors for simply existing on our streets. We do not have sufficient oversight of this partnership. The recent library garage fire demonstrates the risk that a lack of transparency and oversight pose. It has forced a weeks-long closure of perhaps the single greatest example of a Nashville for Nashvillians, our library's main branch. You've heard from the special interest folks tonight, talking about how great our downtown is. Great for whom? This is, by all reasonable measures, a toxic relationship. A yes vote tonight proves you serve those special interests over the interests of Nashvillians. A yes vote tonight will get you challenged next cycle, and no matter how much money you've raised, we will beat you.
All right, next, please come forward. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Majid Keshawani. I'm part of District 32. I did not come with prepared comments today. I was inspired by everyone who's spoken before me. So really, and I apologize for rambling if I do, but really what I want to say here is the reason I'm in opposition is because everything we've heard today, at its core, while I do believe those who are in opposition, it's just anecdotes, right? Like, all we have are stories because apparently for the last 20 years, you guys haven't seen a budget. So you don't actually have any data. You don't know where the money's being spent. You don't know what's actually happening. And it is wild to me to expand someone's influence without getting a report card first. Like, that is nuts. And it's not smart. And by that, I mean it's not sustainable. It's not measurable. It's not actionable. It's not realistic. And it's not timely. I frankly don't know if bids are a good thing. I do know expanding someone's influence without knowing how they're spending our money, your money, is not a good thing. I know if you want to vote to allow 100% of this budget to go towards secret police and you want that on your conscience, fine. But shouldn't you and your constituents at least know that's what you're voting for?
Thank you. Next.
Hi, Nicole Williams. I live in District 9, Tawny Hancock's district. So as many of you know, this is going to be my last meeting covering the Metro Council. And so I want to talk about this issue in particular, but also talk about how it sort of ties into some broader themes and frustrations that I've had in the 5 years that I've been listening to y'all speak. I think that what you're hearing from the people in opposition is a fundamental lack of trust. And I think that the reason people do not trust this process is because they don't feel as though y'all are being honest with them. I understand and support the concept of a CBID. I think it has utility. But the issue is when we pretend like there's nothing bad about it. There are no drawbacks. There is no such thing as a piece of legislation that y'all vote on that doesn't have a single drawback. What pisses people off is when you act like everything is sunshine and roses, and we know it's not the case because we can read and we can see and we can hear from our neighbors what is going on downtown. So if I can leave you with anything, it would be to please trust each other and trust us enough to be willing to have honest conversations about the legislation that you're considering. Because it would be really sad if you thought so little of your colleagues and of your constituents that you didn't think they could handle having a nuanced conversation about a piece of legislation. I think these people are really smart. I don't think y'all are any smarter than they are. And I think just please be honest. Just be honest.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I live in District 21. I'm not going to beg y'all to do anything. We beg y'all all the time. But what I am going to say is, following on Nicole's point, a lot of y'all in here are way undereducated on these issues than we are, because we spend our free time, hours, dozens and hundreds of hours on our free time educating ourselves. You all turn to Sam and Tom Turner and Stephen Henry and the rest of them and get your 5 bullet points, and it shows. We can tell when you're reading lobbyist talking points because you can't answer any questions beyond the talking points. It's very obvious. We do this again and again and again. This public hearing is essentially another version of the Titan Stadium public hearing. We get the people in the suits, we get the hoteliers, we get the chamber people. It's all the same thing. And every time, no matter what, y'all call yourselves the most progressive council ever, you side with them every time. So I'm not really surprised that Nicole's leaving and not doing this anymore, because what is the point? When you all sit here and you nod your heads and you say, let's get your questions answered. And that's the extent of your advocacy for everyone except the rich people. I also want to push back on the notion that 25,000 people want this business district, because I'm curious if everyone in your district has been polled on this. Have you gone door to door to all 25,000 residences in District 19? I don't think so. And the notion that other council members from other districts should not have an opinion or weigh in on this is ridiculous. Downtown affects all of us. When there's the constant line of, we're the economic engine for the state and the city. How much of our money had to go to subsidize that? The convention center, the Titan Stadium, and every other major thing downtown that has enabled District 19 to be the economic engine was paid for by us. So like Nicole said, don't talk to us like we're stupid. Don't pretend you're going to sit here and vote any differently and pretend you're having this great crisis of conscience when we know how you're going to vote. But don't expect us to knock doors for you.
Thank you. Does anyone else seek to be recognized for the public hearing to speak in opposition to this legislation? Okay, seeing none, I will declare the public hearing closed. All right, now it is back to you, Council Member Coupin, to get the bill before us.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move the bill. Committee reports first.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's see. Committee reports. Chair of Budget and Finance, Chair Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance considered BL 2025-846. And on Amendment 1, we voted 3 in favor, 8 against. Amendment 2, 10 in favor, 0 against, 1 not voting. Amendment 3, 11 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Amendment 4, 10 in favor, 0 against, 1 not voting. Amendment 5 was withdrawn. And the bill as amended was voted 10 in favor, 0 against, 1 not voting.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, now back to you for a motion, Mr. Coupin.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move with a comment.
You want to move approval with a brief comment. Is there a second? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. And there's so much to say. I'm going to try to quantify all of it. I want to go in reverse order with what you just heard. This isn't perfect. Our government's not perfect. I'm not perfect. We're not perfect. I think nuance is incredibly important. This is a nuanced conversation. This is a nuanced district. And that's why my door is open, continues to remain open. If people have concerns, if they have questions, come to me, ask me. I can't solve what I don't know, but when I do know, I promise I will work tirelessly to address issues, find out what's going on, and make it better. That's my job as a council person representing a district. And I appreciate the engagement of my colleagues in the Budget and Finance Committee. I recommend folks watch that. There's a lot of discussion I don't want to reiterate there. A lot of important concerns that were heard this evening, many of which are not able to be solved with this legislation. Homelessness and housing, these are top priorities that we need to work on, but this bid can't solve that. And again, my commitment remains to keep my door open and to keep working on these concerns. And again, at the end of the day, it is about the generous contribution and voice of the 25,000 plus people who, yes, I have constantly talked to and engaged. Everybody from the random resident who I had dinner with this week who unsolicited brought up the partnership in downtown, to businesses, to hotels, to, in fact, homeless friends that I have downtown. Again, it's not perfect. There are things that are good. There are things that are not as good. But everybody that I have spoken to, everybody that I've heard from, everybody that got notices and postcards and mailers are all in support of this. This is about the GBID and the CBID board, who, as you heard, deliberated and voted to combine these districts. It's not about power for the downtown partnership. I think one of my big takeaways, candidly, is for the first time I really feel like I fully understand the bid and how it's all structured together, how the DMC hires the partnership, who hires block by block, and how those pieces all fit together. And that I'm going to take that with me going forward on how I work with the DMC to make sure that Metro's priorities are aligned with these groups. You've got letters on your desk from over 30 supporters as well, many in your inbox, folks that have called, folks that have come out. So I'm standing representing the voice of my district, supporting this combination and expansion. You've heard how incredible it is. You've heard how much it does. We are a great city. We are not a perfect city, but we are always working to be better. The concern about multimodal infrastructure and urban infrastructure has been raised, and I have a commitment from the Downtown Partnership. We have a meeting on Thursday with Walk Bike Nashville to work on those issues. I've got a meeting that I'm pulling together with homeless advocacy to work on those issues. I've talked to the DMC today. There's so much more work to do, but at the end of the day, this is about representing the voice of our people. This is about representing our constituents. These are not tax dollars. These are dollars that people are kindly and generously, after a tax increase, after a transit tax increase, still willing to give to make our city better. And we shouldn't be telling them no. We should say thank you very much and continue to work to make sure it is deployed in a way that is fair and equitable to everyone. So I encourage my colleagues to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coupin. Okay, we are on to discussion. First in the queue is Councilman Parker. You're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move Amendment 1.
Is there a second? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. So just very briefly, this amendment is an attempt to increase the oversight and accountability of this entity that this legislation creates, the District Management Corporation, which, as we've heard a little bit about, is distinct from the Nashville Downtown Partnership. It's the entity to which most of the funds flow and which hires the Downtown Partnership. The board is generally smaller than the Downtown Partnership board. Members are selected by outgoing directors who are term limited, and they are confirmed by a vote of membership, which is, property owners in the area are considered the members. The board of directors are the leaders of the organization. And so at the end of that process, or at some point in that process, what this legislation would add is that new directors would come through the Metro Council confirmation process. So essentially, they would go to the clerk and say, hey, we've got 3 people we need confirmed to be on our board of directors, and please put them on the agenda. And then they would show up and they would come talk with us for a couple of minutes at the Rules Committee, and then we would confirm them here on the floor. So I'm happy to answer any questions. We had a really robust discussion in budget yesterday, and I think it was maybe, I had a very busy weekend. I was traveling, and I maybe could have done a little more outreach to stakeholders about this, and I think it might have caught some folks off guard at the budget meeting yesterday, but I did get a chance to speak with the representative of the Downtown Partnership today at length, and I believe they're neutral on it now. So I would appreciate y'all's consideration and support as we work to kind of improve our oversight of this function.
All right, there is a motion to amend with Amendment 1. It's properly seconded, and so now we are on to discussion of the motion to amend. Ms. Porterfield, do you seek to be recognized on Amendment 1? Okay. Ms. Evans-Siegel on Amendment 1. Go ahead, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I really enjoyed the conversation around this yesterday. As I said yesterday, I had to sort of think through this one because I thought it was a novel idea, and I was thinking through what is the point of a bid? What does a bid actually functionally do? It was discussed yesterday in committee that the bid levies an assessment. And there was a lot of discussion around the fact that that is a voluntary property assessment and not a tax. And my reasoning in support of this amendment was based on the fact that this is a tax. And when we look at public funds and we look at those boards and commissions that use public funds in the city that can affect our coffers by offsetting taxes that have a fundamental oversight or interest in public funds, all of those boards and commissions have oversight. And what then followed was that this isn't a tax, and so it's fundamentally different. But what I would point out is that in 2013, this body actually made it a tax. We passed a sales tax for the downtown CBID of 0.25%. And that sales tax goes directly to NCVC to spend how they want to promote tourism. And then in 2021, we again passed a sales tax tied to the downtown bid. Again, 0.25% of sales tax, which applies to all goods and services sold downtown. And that portion of the sales tax goes directly to the DMC. So when we expand this, if we expand this, as I suspect we will, to the Gulch, we will be levying an additional 0.5% sales tax on all goods and services sold in the Gulch. That is not something that people who go to the Gulch have a chance to vote on and consent to. That is something that every single person who enters the Gulch for food, for shopping, and entertainment will pay. It is not left just to the property taxpayers to pay that. It is on all of us who enjoy the Gulch, and I very much enjoy the Gulch. I'm happy to levy this tax. The Gulch, the food and goods in the Gulch are very expensive. I don't think most people are going to notice this tax, but we are paying a tax. And to the extent our citizens are paying a tax, I think we have a right to say who should decide how those tax dollars are spent. And I really appreciate my colleague thinking through this. And I think it maybe has helped sort of build support for a mechanism that he might not have otherwise supported. And I really appreciate his work on that. And I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that this may be a property assessment for those who own property or rent and get that as a pass-through, but it is a tax on all of us.
Thank you. Ms. Suara, do you seek to be recognized on the motion to amend? Okay, go ahead. You're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I said this in budget yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. And I want to echo what Nicole said towards the end. And that is the issue of trust and how the community views this. Even if it is a private board, the fact that part of the money comes through the assessment or through the tax makes it where people are interested. And I think the onus is on us to make sure that we have dropped the ball on the oversight, and that is shame on us. And I want to thank everybody that came to speak. I want to thank everybody that found that we haven't done our job in 21 years. And so as a way to continue to build community trust, as a way to continue to do our work, I'm grateful for the assessment from Coopin and from Councilmember Preptit, the issues that were raised from homelessness, on the oversight. All of these are things that we should take very seriously. And so being able to approve an appointee to the board, I think is another layer that allows this to come before us. And so I'm in support of all of this. I think it's very important we don't do less, especially when we haven't done anything. I think there's an opportunity for us to continue to do more. So I vote in support. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Sepulveda, Pro Tem, do you want to speak on the motion to amend specifically? Okay. Go ahead, Pro Tem.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'll be very brief. I can't sleep at night. So it was technically the morning, 3 a.m. And so I was going back and watching the committee meeting and I watched the discussion. And I think a lot of my colleagues made good points in support of this amendment, which is actually why I'm going to be supporting it tonight. It actually brought to my attention that, and people said it would lead to a slippery slope, which, hello, I am the slippery slope because I'm going to look at the rest of them. Because I do believe that if we are spending constituent tax dollars, that we need to make sure that we are having oversight. That's just good government in my opinion. So I will be supporting this.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Sponsor Coupon on the motion to amend. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to my colleague for bringing this. One of the things I really respect and appreciate about Councilman Parker is his willingness to engage and have conversations and try to get to yes, even on things that he's not initially supportive of, and that's how we should be governing, right? Working with each other, and you've heard the words partnership and trust, and I think that's really an important piece of this conversation. And to be clear, and I appreciate him acknowledging, I think there's a number of us that were caught off guard yesterday by that. And again, we know our legislative process is challenging such that we receive these amendments at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we have to figure out what we're going to say and talk about only a few hours later. And so, having had some time to think about it, having had some time to discuss with some of my constituents, and again, my opposition yesterday was not rooted in council oversight of the individuals that serve on the DMC. My opposition was the fact that I have done extensive engagement around the bid and around amendments and around conversation, and this was one that felt substantively different to the process we've been using. And absent time to engage them, I was concerned. That being said, after continued conversations, and again, hearing members of the public, members of the body say that this is really important to them, I am going to trust y'all. I'm going to be in partnership with y'all. I think that's really, really important. I'm going to abstain from this vote because, again, I don't feel like I've had the time to engage my constituents enough to feel comfortable voting for it. But we are not in opposition to it. We encourage y'all to vote your conscience on it. But I do want to let my colleagues know that this is something that we are not opposed to. We're very much open to. I can't vote for it at this time, but did want to share that for my colleagues as they consider their vote.
Thank you, Mr. Coupon. Mr. Cash, do you seek to be recognized on the motion to amend? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Cash.
Thanks. I rise in support of this amendment. I think it'll make the bill and the process better. It will provide oversight. It will provide some degree of transparency. I guess one of the, breath kind of gave me a pause moments of this discussion is that we, the council, this body hasn't been getting the, the required accounting that we were by law supposed to get. And that's kind of like, and that is not just on those who were supposed to give it to us, but that is also on us, that we were, that we weren't getting something that we were supposed to be getting for several decades or a couple of decades. And I think adding, giving us some oversight over who is on this board of directors, it'll give us some influence on who is managing this pool of taxpayer money and services. It'll give us some ability to have public conversations about issues, about concerns, and also, congratulations on things that are going well. It will just put the CBID, the downtown CBID, on our radar more, and I think this is a smart move, and we'll all be the better for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cash. Ms. Evans, do you seek to be recognized on the motion to amend? Okay, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I actually had a question kind of around that I didn't hear addressed in yesterday's budget meeting around the notion of oversight. And I'm curious, even though like the CBID information is in the budget book and everything, would we as a body with the next budget chair be permitted to pull the budget, this into kind of the broader budget conversation? For instance, could the downtown partnership potentially be included in speakers that come and speak to the committee as part of this process?
Do you want me to address that to Special Counsel Darby or speak to the discretion of the Budget and Finance Committee Chair, whomever they may be?
I think probably Director Darby would be fine. Thank you.
Special Counsel Darby, you're recognized.
I think that it would be acceptable to have any entity that's a recipient of funds that specifically the board that the council is creating by this ordinance to come before the board to talk about an item that is being, the funding that's being appropriated. I will note that going forward, we'll be getting the line by line, the itemized budget from the DMC that will come to this council by resolution for approval.
Thank you. Does that clarify? Chair Evans, thank you. Councilman Prep T, do you seek to be recognized? Not on the motion to amend. And Ms. Porterfield, you already indicated you did not seek to be recognized on the motion to amend. Okay, just want to make sure as you all are in the queue. Okay, that looks to conclude the discussion specifically on the motion to amend with Amendment 1, which is properly seconded. This just requires a simple majority, so we can take this by voice, okay? Would all in favor of the motion to amend with Amendment 1, please say aye. Against, please say no. And any abstaining? Okay. Amendment 1 prevails. And so Amendment 1 is on the bill. I will put it back, though, to you, Mr. Coupin, to get it properly before us. And of course, you have Amendment 2 as well. So you're recognized. Oops, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. Do I need to move the bill as amended to get the next, move the bill as amended,
If you would,
please?
just renew the motion to approve with Amendment 1. And it's also back to you again.
Thank you. I'd like to move Amendment 2.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. So we're on to Amendment 2. It is properly seconded. Is you want anything that you want to say on that amendment in particular?
Just very, very briefly, the question about reporting has come up. I encourage folks, similar to my colleague, Councilwoman Sepulveda, I also don't sleep. And so I went down a Legistar hole and found in 2003 an example of what this could look like going forward with line-by-line items and an ordinance or resolution that comes before us. So this amendment provides a specific date that this kind of ordinance and reporting is due back to us. And my understanding was that in around 2003, 2004, there was some sort of a memorandum of understanding or something that kind of changed how this process was going. So again, I think that this was not an intentional oversight based on the records I've seen, but it's something that I'm very glad that we are rectifying so that we can have that in-depth oversight.
All right, there is a motion to amend with Amendment 2, sponsor Coupin. It is properly seconded, and we're on to discussion of the motion to amend with Amendment 2. Ms. Porterfield and Mr. Prep T, I presume you want to speak on the bill depending on how it's amended at the end. Okay, so I'm going to continue to skip over you in the queue. Mr. Parker, do you seek to be recognized on Amendment 2? You're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to rise in support of Amendment 2 from our downtown council member. You know, most of this language was in the code, but I think part of where we got sideways with it was not having a specified date. And I think that moving forward, I mean, I doubt that anyone's going to forget this requirement moving forward, but now we have a date and we know a cadence that we can expect it to happen. And so I'm just rising in support of this, and also want to thank Special Counsel Darby for doing lots of research into this question after it was brought up at the previous budget meeting. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Is anyone else seeking to be recognized on the motion to amend with Amendment 2? Okay. All in favor of Amendment 2, please say aye. Aye. Any voting no? Any abstaining? All right. So Amendment 2 has passed. It's back to you, Mr. Coupin, for a motion to get it before us as amended. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move with Amendment 1 and 2, please.
Okay, there is a motion to approve with Amendment 1 and Amendment 2. It's properly seconded, and we continue discussion. Ms. Porterfield, I'm going to go to Mr. Prep T as he has two amendments before us in our order of discussion. Mr. Prep T, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Move adoption of Amendment 3 with a brief comment.
Is there a second? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. So the purpose of this particular amendment is to provide for reporting requirements with this particular bid. So it requires that the bid create reporting that includes certain metrics of quantitative and qualitative data, that it be provided to the council by March 31st, and that it be presented to the Public Health and Safety Committee no later than April 30th of each calendar year. So that's the purpose and what this amendment particularly does. Some of the data that is requested within this amendment is use of force incidences, interactions with our homeless population, as well as any uses of force that result in injury or medical responses, as well as narratives around some of those interactions. So this is just adding an additional reporting requirement for this particular CBID as it relates to interactions with the public. And so with that, I renew my motion.
All right, there is a motion to amend with Amendment 3. It's properly seconded, and you've heard an explanation of the amendment's sponsor. Ms. Swara, do you seek to be recognized on the motion to amend with Amendment 3? Go ahead.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. As I listened to all the individuals that came to talk to us, and thank you so very much, the issues at the core of it was the oversight, the lack of oversight, and then the treatment of our own house residents on the streets. And that's a very big one because of some of the news that we've heard, because of everything that we heard. I know that there are people that came and talk about the outreach that goes on and everything, but I think without the data, without the number, without the information, I think we would not be able to make a very good information. So I love this amendment because it gives us all of that data, including interaction with law enforcement. I want to say that as part of the earlier conversation, one of the things that I suggested was why MMPD is not actually doing this in one of our budget meetings, while we're using THP and not using MMPD, but MMPD does not have the capacity and they're not ready to take that on. That's part of why we're here. But we know what THP does. We know some of the issues around that, but this data actually allows us to be able to get that information and to be able to act with it. So I want to rise in support of it. These and the oversight element of it is going to enable us to do what we need to do. CBD is okay, but at the core of it is the heart and the treatment of the people. And everyone that are opposing it, when you listen to what they're saying, it's about we cannot just say it's business. We have to look at the people. And so these amendments speak to the core of the people, and so I'm in support of it. Thank you, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is anyone else seeking to be recognized on the motion to amend with Amendment 3? Okay, seeing none, we will move to the vote. Again, simple majority by voice. All in favor of Amendment 3, please say aye. Any voting no? Okay, any abstaining? All right, Amendment 3 prevails. Mr. Coupin, do you seek to renew your motion to approve with Amendments 1, 2, and 3, sir? Okay, is there a second for that motion? Okay, so we continue with discussion. Mr. Prep-T, next in the queue, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Move adoption of Amendment 4.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Would you like to give an explanation of Amendment 4, sir?
Yes, thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. So what this amendment does is it adds in a requirement that the CBID create a grievance process through which members of the public can file either feedback or grievance to the CBID with anything that happens within its jurisdiction, and provides that this grievance process be publicly facing, that the public have access to be able to either file anonymously or identify themselves within the grievance process, but also making sure that those grievances are made public, and also adds a requirement that within 4 months of the passage of this bill that they are required to provide a report to us as to what exactly that grievance process is. So that's the purpose of this, to provide even more layers of transparency and access to the public for this. So with that explanation, I renew my motion.
All right, there's a motion to amend with Amendment 4. You've heard it's properly seconded, and you've heard the explanation of the sponsor, Mr. Prep-T. So then we are on to discussion of the motion to amend with Amendment 4. And I see Councilman Nash. Are you seeking to speak on Amendment 4, sir? Okay, go ahead. You're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm just curious, if we're going to have a grievance procedure, and I guess we're waiting to see how they might process those grievances. What expectations do you have to how they're going to address a grievance and how it will be resolved?
Mr. Nash, do you want me to address that question to Mr. Prep-T?
Please, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, sir. You can respond. And let me turn on your button there. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. So the language within this particular amendment is relatively broad to allow for the CBID to be able to have the capability of crafting this process that are that's really narrowly tailored for their particular needs. So the expectation is, again, that there is going to be some public-facing grievance process, and that they will be able to establish essentially a tier of things of grievances, whether it be something that doesn't necessarily require adjudication to something that doesn't require there to be a process for receiving the complaint, looking into it, and coming up with a resolution. Because again, within the amendment that within this amendment, it requires certain records to be kept within the grievance process. So the expectations are laid out that there's going to be record keeping requirements, that it's going to be public facing. But again, this also provides them the leeway to really narrowly tailor this process to specifically what is needed for the CBID.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Prepty. Mr. Nash, does that address your question? If you would, sir, and you're able, if you would stand, please. Yeah.
I guess as best it's going to get answered. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Is anyone else seeking to be recognized for the motion to amend with Amendment 4? Okay. Seeing none, again, this just requires a simple majority, and we'll take it by voice first. All in favor of Amendment 4, please say aye. Any against, please say no. Okay. Any abstaining? All right. Amendment 4 prevails. Mr. Cupin, back to you to renew your motion, and please restate all the amendments 1, 2, 3, and 4 are on the bill. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to renew my motion with amendments 1, 2, 3, and 4, please.
Oh, okay. There is a motion to approve this bill as amended with amendments 1, 2, 3, and 4. We continue our discussion, and first in the queue at this juncture is Councilmember Porterfield. You're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I appreciate you for recognizing me, and thank you to everyone that came out and spoke about this. We know we heard a lot of concerns and a lot of support and opposition on both sides. Thank you to our colleagues that have engaged in this process. I have been on the fence for a while on this piece of legislation. I saw some good things about it. I had some concerns about it, and have really just been weighing the pros and cons of moving forward with this expansion. In general, we need more bids. Bids are a financial tool, and it's a good fiscal model for our city to be able to support the neighborhoods. A good thing about a bid is that it has a neighborhood identity. So when you think about downtown or you think about the Gulch, these neighborhoods have their own individual identities. I do have some concerns about merging those two identities and, in essence, expanding downtown. We are expanding downtown to East Bank. We are now, this feels like expanding the downtown to the Gulch. So there are some concerns about that. What we see with the bid is we see them doing policing. We see them offering services to our unhoused neighbors, which we definitely appreciate services and care for our unhoused neighbors. But we are creating a quasi-government that has limited oversight with the way that we're doing it right now. Yesterday was mentioned about a slippery slope. My concern is the slippery slope of, are we continuing to expand downtown? Does it make more sense to keep these entities separate? So based on all of this information, I've put a lot of thought into what we can do and how we can find a pathway forward. I think in general, our body does not have a lot of education around bids. Most of us are just learning about bids through this process. And I think that we primarily as a Budget and Finance Committee need more education on this, but also the full body needs more education on this. So regardless of how the vote goes today, what I will be doing as the Budget and Finance Committee Chair will be moving forward with a working group to engage stakeholders and community members about the bid. What does it look like for us to do bids here in Nashville? The city needs to have a conversation about how we can support these services on a smaller scale, and what are the services that we want supplemented by the bid, as opposed to when a bid is taking over the services that the city is providing, which is what we're seeing right now. So based on all of this information, I am proposing a deferral for this legislation until July 7th, 2026. That deferral will give us the opportunity to get the line item budget that we should be receiving on April the 15th of next year. It will also let us get the reporting information from Councilmember Prep T. It will also give us the opportunity to discuss this through our budget process next year, and then we can look at revisiting this legislation at the first meeting of July.
Okay, so just to restate the motion, there is a motion to defer this ordinance on third reading to the meeting of July 7th of 2026 would be the first meeting of July in that year. There is a second, I presume, Special Counsel, that's a proper motion? Okay.
Point of order.
Yes, ma'am. For a point of order, go ahead.
It is my understanding that if this is not voted on within the window, which I believe to be like 45 days or something, they would just have to start the process over. So can we get can Director Darby speak on why it's not consistent with state law?
Special Counsel Darby, can you speak to whether this is a proper motion consistent with state law? Go ahead.
The way that I read the state law regarding the establishment hearings, we are required to have the hearing after the second reading. So we have 3 readings that we normally follow for an ordinance to pass, and we are required to have 2 of those hearings prior to the public hearing so that your final hearing is on the same day as your public hearing, and you take your vote to either adopt as amended, or reject following the conclusion of the public hearing.
So would a deferral not be a rejection at this time, and the sponsor can bring the legislation back?
I don't think a deferral would be a rejection. I think a deferral would be trying to move it to another meeting where we would come back to try to hear it again, but it would not be consistent with the state law.
So if we pass the deferral tonight and it's not consistent with state law, what would happen?
I haven't thought that far ahead. So I'm just telling you what I think is consistent with state law, that state law says that we should be adopting as amended, or rejecting. And it says specifically reject. It doesn't offer the option for deferral.
Thank you. I'll renew my motion to defer this to the first meeting in July to give us the opportunity to get all of the documents that we've not gotten up to this point. I think this will go a long way to help build trust. I think that the Downtown Partnership does amazing things. So this is not me saying that I don't have trust in the partnership, but I do know that there are community members that don't have trust. And I think that this will go a long way to help build the trust. One of the comments that I heard was that we have not gotten this information in 20 years, but we are now going to expand their services without getting information. And I believe that this will be a great opportunity for us to all be good partners together. So I'll renew my motion.
All right. So there is a motion. It is properly seconded. Special Counsel Darby has advised, specific to the language in the state ordinance, which requires, or if we may, Ms. Porterfield, I just want to get a little additional clarification before we begin the potential debate on the motion to defer, which is typically a prevailing motion in the midst of discussion. Can you read, please, Special Counsel Darby, slowly the state legislation, particularly using the word rejection? So the distinction of adopt as amended, or reject. And is there any precedent, reject equals voting no or voting it down versus deferring it, and that is a stand-in for, quote, rejection. Could you counsel us a little bit more on that, please, ma'am?
The state law says at the conclusion of such public hearing, the governing body shall adopt as amended, or reject the organization of such central business improvement district by the adoption or rejection of an ordinance setting out the district.
Okay, and it is your opinion that a deferral motion at this juncture on this particular bill is not equated or compatible with state law as it relates to a rejection. Your interpretation is a rejection must be a no vote.
Yes, I think a rejection is a no vote, adoption is a yes vote.
Yes, Mr. Prepty, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. And we may have touched on this before as it relates to the state enabling statute, but it does, understanding that it states that after a public hearing is held, but does it provide for a particular time frame? Is it at that exact same meeting where the public meeting is held? Does it provide does it provide a concrete timeline other than just after the public hearing?
Special Counsel Darby.
It specifically says that in a location that has more than 2 readings, that requires more than 2 readings of an ordinance, that all readings except for the final reading shall occur before the public hearing. The final reading shall be except for the final such reading, so that adoption may take place at the conclusion of the public hearing.
Thank you.
Okay, does that clarify? Point of order? Ms. Porterfield, you're recognized for a point of order. Go ahead.
I'm going to withdraw my deferral and just ask people to vote it down and ask that they bring it back once we get through this working group.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I just want to acknowledge that Ms. Porterfield has withdrawn her motion to defer to a date certain. Now for parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Coupin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Special Counsel Darby, if the bill were to fail, is there a period of time with which it cannot be brought back after the failure that they'd have to wait to bring it back?
Special Counsel Darby.
Yes, it's 1 year.
And if within 1 year, and then we know that in order to line up with the 30 to 45 days, not every council meeting and council's kind of cycle lines up with that, what would happen to the Gulch Business Improvement District if we brought it back in 1 year and then had to line it back up such that this doesn't pass till, let's say, fall of 2026?
So, Council?
I have not looked at the calendar to determine what the timeline would look like. It would take a couple minutes, more than 2, but several minutes for me to determine what a timeline would look like. Because yes, the resolution for the hearing has to be filed so that the hearing is 30 to 45 days after the resolution is passed. And then you have to coordinate with your ordinances as well. So
thank you.
Okay, so for purposes of fully addressing that question relative to parliamentary inquiry, basically what would happen if it were to fail, can you continue to pursue the response to that, or do you consider that to be a complete response? Because as we continue with discussion, you would have the time potentially, if you want to answer more fully. Not necessary, I just...
If the question is what happens if it fails, it cannot be brought back in the same form for 1 year. And I also think that would apply to an extension of the CBID. An expansion of the CBID, definitely. But it would also apply to reestablishment of a separate reestablishment of a GBID.
Okay, thank you. Does that fully address your parliamentary inquiry, sir? Okay, all right. So we are on to debate on the motion to approve as amended with amendments 1, 2, 3, and 4. And first in the queue for that discussion is Councilmember Huffman. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and thank you, colleagues, for the spirited debate on the amendments. I wanted to just report back on an experience that I had last week. At the last meeting, Councilmember Evans invited all of us to experience the Partnerships Ride-Along program with their outreach team. And I took her up on that offer and did that last week. I rode with Antonio, who we heard from last meeting, and Isaiah, who we heard from last night and tonight. And just a few things I've learned. So number one, de-escalation is actually a policy with the outreach team. So if they see PD, whether it's state trooper, MNPD, talking in the process of an arrest of an unhoused individual, they step in to de-escalate that. It really impressed me that they would do that. And the reason that they do that is because they really care a ton for these individuals that live down here. They've got relationships that you wouldn't believe with the chronically unhoused. They know most of them by name, and the outreach team has experience that is second to none. The two fellas that I rode with, Antonio and Isaiah, both had backgrounds in mental health and substance abuse services, which was very important to me. Working in the unhoused space, I see that being something that plagues people just oftentimes than not, and it's really, really sad. And it makes each individual example of an unhoused individual that hard to combat. That's what makes this so difficult. Then I saw how they treat new folks. So we came across this guy. He was clearly recently homeless. And you may ask, well, how do you know that, Jordan? He had his entire wallet with him. And that is a telltale sign that somebody is recently unhoused. This guy wouldn't give up his name. He didn't really want to say a lot. But Isaiah offered him a biscuit. And he took it. And we continued on our way. We circled back around in 10 minutes, and the guy had tears in his eyes, and he was standing up. You could tell it was the first nice thing that anybody had probably done since he has been in Nashville. I give you that story because it's a reflection of how the Downtown Nashville Partnership handles the homeless. Their family reunification program is second to none, and it's just really incredible what they do. Housing over 150 unique individuals in a single year, they're doing their part. We need to support this. It's good for Nashville. It's good for the state of Tennessee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huffman. Mr. Coupin, do you seek to be recognized at this time or want to wait? Okay. Yep. Councilman Coupin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. And I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. We talked about trust and partnership this evening, and I hope that my efforts in the last 30 to 45 days have been again, though maybe not perfect, well-intentioned and well-attempted. And I've spent a phenomenal amount of time trying to engage with folks and trying to open my door and work with homeless and work with multimodal and work with bike and address every single concern that was levied, because that is my job as the district council member for my district. And I've committed to continue to doing so. And I've talked about how I'm on the District Management Corporation Board, and I'm going to take things like Councilman Suarez yesterday asked about housing resources and bringing that, and I committed to bring that to the DMC. I was on the phone with the DMC today. We talk about trust and partnership, and the Gulch Business Improvement District trusted us. They trusted this body to listen to their voices. They said, you know what, we're not going to renew. It wasn't because they didn't think they had the support or because you can't get the petitions. They had the support. I know I am there every single day talking to people, engaging with people. The support was there, but the CBID and GBID felt that they could do a better job serving Nashville together. And they trusted us to be good stewards. And I am one of the biggest fans of a one-meeting deferral to get more information. No matter what it is, no matter what's going on, I've supported them time and time again. We are bound here by state law. We are bound by state law. If I could defer it, I would. But if we defer, then I think my colleague is going to say that we can do it. We can do it. We're not. It's not that we can't do it.
We're on a motion to approve, so.
Right, so, but if we vote against it and it gets rejected, we are now in a 1-year waiting period. And again, like I said, and I tried to quickly figure it out, but it's hard math. It's hard to figure out what meeting cycle would allow this to happen. So we are now telling the downtown district and the Gulch and all of my constituents downtown that we don't trust you, we don't stand with you, we're not going to listen to you, and we're going to make you wait a year. And again, I believe that will lead to the Gulch Business Improvement District potentially dissolving, needing to be recreated. It's a cascade of issues, and our burden of decision-making needs to be looking at how many good things it's doing. There are things that are concerns. I agree with that. I see that. I've worked on that. But to me, when you have a substantial amount of benefit and some concerns, the answer is not to vote no. The answer is to continue to work on making it better. And yes, we haven't had the financials. That's on us. There's plenty of things that I've heard this week that disappoint me about the Metro government that we need to be better at, but that is on us. And so because we didn't ask for those numbers for the last 20 years to go to, and because we have concerns with the downtown partnership operator, none of those people are who we're talking to right now. We're talking to our constituents, and we're letting our constituents form a group that is going to tax themselves on top of the many other taxes they pay in downtown. And so I urge my colleagues to support this. My commitment is to continue working on it, work with the working group, but I really urge y'all to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are continuing our discussion on the motion to approve as amended. Point of parliamentary inquiry. Please rise. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Can you clarify the state law on whether or not we have to vote for this? Because my interpretation of what the council member just said is that we have to vote for this now, and I don't think that's accurate based on state law. So can we get that clarified?
I will allow it as it relates to, but I feel like a motion to approve.
Okay.
So
I'll get in the queue and ask it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Vo, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor. I had two questions. When does the Gulch bid expire? Can someone?
Special Counsel Darby?
The Gulch CBID expires at the end of 2026.
So December
31, 2026.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. And then two, this is parliamentary inquiry too. When you said it can't come back within a year as it is how it was filed, so then with these amendments, would then if someone filed it, just say like in a month, with the amendments, is that different? Can you clarify that for me?
Special Counsel Darby?
We would not be able to take up a reestablishment or expand of the downtown CBID in the manner that they presented it to us. So I think even with the amendments, I don't think that would be sufficient. I think that it would, the whole reestablishment of the downtown CBID ordinance would not be permitted to come back.
Does that answer your question particular to the amendments, or basically you? Okay.
Kind of, because I'm trying to
ask your question, if you would.
Sure. I was trying to clarify that what could be presented again. I understand the current bill could not be in a year, but if there was another with the amendments, would it change that? So that's what I was trying to understand.
Oh,
you just okay.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I understand your question now.
Okay, so sorry, because you were saying, I mean, from Special Counsel Darby, she was saying that this ordinance would not be able to come back in a year from today. And so I was trying to understand what could be presented because the amendments are added tonight, so if
it were to fail.
Yes.
What you're saying is if people were to choose to vote no.
Correct.
Then basically what would happen relative to the bill as it exists presently with all these amendments and so forth?
Yes.
Okay. Special Counsel, can you speak to that in particular? I mean, the legislation fails, it goes away, people have to reapply, like there's nothing, like the amendments are not going to travel with the hypothetical bill that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's my understanding, and I don't have the specific ordinance at my fingertips right now. I'm looking for it, but it's my understanding that if this fails, we cannot bring back a reestablishment ordinance for the CBID within 1 year.
You have to let a year pass.
Yes.
Okay, a year has to pass subsequent to the failure for a new bill to be introduced and to add and clarify the GBID lasts till December 31st of 2026. Okay, does that clarify?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Johnston, you're recognized.
Previous question.
Okay, yes, Ms. Porterfield, and I do apologize because Ms. Vo's inquiry evolved into something similar to what you had initiated, so I do apologize. I thought we were a little bit more in the approve, disapprove, debating. Ms. Johnston, a parliamentary inquiry prevails. And so again, y'all please rise for a point of order, point of inquiry. Ms. Porterfield, you are recognized for a point of inquiry.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Can Special Counsel Darby clarify if the sponsor, if it fails, the sponsor cannot bring it back for a year? If the sponsor withdraws the legislation, the sponsor can bring it back at any point in time. Is that correct?
Special Counsel Darby, can you address that? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I think so that we can continue to proceed, I will go back to answer that inquiry. Are you okay with the debate continuing? Okay. Ms. Johnston, you're recognized.
Previous question.
Okay. Ms. Johnston has called the previous question. This is a non-debatable motion that does require a second. Okay. This requires 2/3 of those voting. When a colleague votes to call the previous question, that means they wish to end the debate. Okay, so if you are voting to end the debate, you would vote in favor of the motion to call the previous question. If you want debate to continue, you would vote against the previous question. This does require 2/3 of those voting. As I often ask and share with you all, it is the number of people voting, not the volume. So if you would please make your just a consistent statement in that regard. Ms. Darby, can you share, because we had a pending parliamentary inquiry, I understand that previous question does prevail in a regular order of debate, but we did say that we would come back. Are you able to finish? So I'm going to allow that, okay? Go ahead, Special Counsel, to conclude the parliamentary inquiry.
The inability to bring back the resolution or the creation of the central business district is related to the specific properties that were included in the original, in this particular ordinance.
Does that, I don't believe that answers Ms. Porterfield's inquiry.
What was the inquiry?
Okay, can you, okay. Pending previous question motion, parliamentary inquiry was initiated prior. We're going to conclude the parliamentary inquiry and then we'll move straight to the previous question vote. So if you would please clarify your parliamentary inquiry. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The inquiry.
I know, right?
I can't say that word. The question was, if the council votes it down, the sponsor can't bring it back for a year. But if the sponsor were to withdraw the legislation, could the sponsor then bring it back whenever we get these reports or whenever the sponsor wants to bring it back prior to a year?
Yes, the 1 year timeframe is with respect to the failure of the ordinance to pass.
And withdrawal constitutes a failure and starts the clock, or I think that's the question.
A rejection.
So a rejection.
So if we vote no, we can't bring it back for a year. But if the sponsor so graciously withdraws it and does not risk that, then the sponsor can bring it back whenever he chooses.
I believe that would be the case.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to clarify then, Special Counsel Darby, you are saying per state law, a rejection is constituted both by a vote no, but also by a withdrawal? Okay, again, hey, I am just asking for clarification. Special counsel here is to advise me as well as the body, okay? If I'm not clear on something, I need to be clear on it. So, thank you. Special counsel, could you clarify? I'm sorry if I misunderstood.
The state law says the failure of the passage of the legislation, and I would interpret that to mean an up or down vote, not a withdrawal.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the clarification. All right, now, with that parliamentary inquiry concluded, because it was prevailing earlier and the inquirer did kindly allow us to continue debate, at which point Ms. Johnston elevated the previous question. I stated what that means as it relates to the vote. And so we will now, as it is non-debatable, move to the vote. It does require 2/3 of those voting to prevail. All in favor of the previous question, please say aye. Those against the previous question? I believe the previous question prevails. Okay, so that means we will now move to the vote. Yes, no, you can rise specifically for the request for a roll call. It has to be seconded. 3 seconds. Yeah, we got it. Okay. All right. So where we are, the motion to call the previous question prevailed. So now we move straight to the vote. There is a motion to approve as amended with amendments 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? There is a request from Councilman Coupin, properly seconded and tripled, for a roll call vote. And so, Mr. Clerk, if you would please open the machine. This is a bill, an ordinance on third and final reading that requires 21 votes for passage. Okay, all votes are in. Mr. Clerk, if you would please show the vote. This ordinance has passed with 29 votes in favor, 6 votes against, and 1 abstention. Okay, this has passed its third and final reading as amended. All right. Now we are on to item J on our agenda. It's our consolidated consent. All resolutions and second and third reading ordinances on this agenda are included on the consent agenda if recommended for approval unanimously by all committees to which the item was referred. Items on the consent agenda will be voted on at a single time. The item number, along with the resolution and ordinance number of the items on the consent agenda, will be read by me. Members of the council may remove any item from the consent agenda by request before the consent agenda vote is taken. All right? So first, for resolutions, the first resolution proposed for consent is agenda item 3, resolution 2025-1352. Agenda item 4, resolution 2025-1353. Agenda item 5, resolution 2025-1354. Agenda item 6, resolution 2025-1355. Agenda item 7, resolution 2025-1356. Agenda item 8, resolution 2025-1357. Agenda item 9, resolution 2025-1358. Agenda item 10, resolution 2025-1359. Agenda item 12, resolution 2025-1361. Agenda item 13, resolution 2025-1362. Agenda item 14, resolution 2025-1363. Agenda item 15, resolution 2025-1364. Agenda item 16, resolution 2025-1365. Agenda item 17, resolution 2025-1366. Agenda item 18, resolution 2025-1367. Agenda item 19, Resolution 2025-1368. Agenda item 20, Resolution 2025-1369. Agenda item 21, Resolution 2025-1370. Agenda item 22, Resolution 2025-1371. Agenda item 23, Resolution 2025-1372. Agenda item 24, Resolution 2025-1373. Agenda item 25, Resolution 2025-1374. Agenda item 26, Resolution 2025-1375. Agenda item 27, Resolution 2025-1376. Okay, and now moving on to bills on second reading proposed for the consent agenda. First among those, agenda item 37, ordinance BL 2025-907. Agenda item 40, ordinance BL 2025-912. Agenda item 41, ordinance BL 2025-913. Agenda item 42, ordinance BL 2025-914. Agenda item 43, ordinance BL 2025-915. Agenda item 44, ordinance BL 2025-916. Agenda item 45, ordinance BL 2025-917. Agenda item 46, ordinance BL 2025-918. Agenda item 47, ordinance BL 2025-919. Agenda item 48, ordinance BL 2025-920. Agenda item 49, ordinance BL 2025-921. Agenda item 50, ordinance BL 2025-922. Agenda item 51, ordinance BL 2025-923. Agenda item 52, ordinance BL 2025-924. Moving on to bills on third reading proposed for the consent agenda. First among those is agenda item 55, ordinance BL 2025-829. Agenda item 56, ordinance BL 2025-864. Agenda item 57, ordinance BL 2025-865. Agenda item 58, ordinance BL 2025-866. Agenda item 59, ordinance BL 2025-867. Agenda item 62, ordinance BL 2025-870. Agenda item 63, ordinance BL 2025-871. Agenda item 64, ordinance BL 2025-872. Agenda item 65, ordinance BL 2025-873. Agenda item 68, ordinance BL 2025-876. Agenda item 71, ordinance BL 2025-879. Agenda item 72, ordinance BL 2025-880. Agenda item 73, ordinance BL 2025-881. Agenda item 74, ordinance BL 2025-884. Agenda item 75, ordinance BL 2025-885. Agenda item 76, ordinance BL 2025-886. Agenda item 77, ordinance BL 2025-887. Agenda item 80, ordinance BL 2025-890. Agenda item 81, ordinance BL 2025-891. Agenda item 82, ordinance BL 2025-892. Agenda item 83, ordinance BL 2025-893. Agenda item 84, ordinance BL 2025-894. Agenda item 85, ordinance BL 2025-895. Agenda item 86, ordinance BL 2025-898. Agenda item 87, ordinance BL 2025-899. Agenda item 88, ordinance BL 2025-900. Agenda item 89, ordinance BL 2025-901. Agenda item 90, ordinance BL 2025-902. Agenda item 91, ordinance BL 2025-903. Agenda item 92, ordinance BL 2025-904. And lastly, agenda item 93, ordinance BL 2025-905. Do any items need to be removed from the consent agenda? If so, members would please join the queue to request that. Councilmember Benedict, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Number 4, Resolution 2025-1353, please.
Okay, Ms. Benedict has requested the removal of agenda item 4. That's Resolution 1353. It will be removed from consent. Okay, Councilmember Sepulveda, Pro Tem, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Item number 64 and 65.
Okay, Councilmember Sepulveda has requested removal of agenda items 64 and 65. They are companions to each other. Ordinance BL 2025-872 and 873. They will be removed from consent. Okay. Next, Councilmember Kimbrough, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to remove number 58, BL 2025-866.
Okay, Ms. Kimbrough has requested that agenda item 58, ordinance 866, be removed from consent. It has been removed. Councilwoman Swara, you are recognized. Oh, okay. Yes, Ms. Kimbrough?
I wasn't sure, but you didn't call 66 and 67, did you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Those were not on consent.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, Ms. Swara, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Item number 25.
Okay, Ms. Swara has requested removal of agenda item 25. This is resolution 2025-1374. This item will be removed from consent. Okay, last in the queue regarding consent agenda is Ms. Ellis. You're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Agenda item number 6.
Okay. Ms. Ellis has requested the removal of agenda item 6. This is resolution 2025-1355. Agenda item 6 will be removed from consent. Okay, are any other members seeking to be recognized to remove an item from the consolidated consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Clerk, are all committee reports in for the items that are remaining on our consent agenda?
Yes, all committee reports are in.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. All righty. Members, is there a motion for approval of the consent agenda? Okay, properly moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Okay, council has passed all items on the consent agenda. Okay. Now we will go back to the items that were not on consent in agenda order as well. Of course, is our first reading items, and we have a late resolution as well. Okay, so going back to the top of our agenda and resolutions. Okay, the first item is agenda item 2, resolution 2025-1351, sponsors Parker Hill, Vo, Allen, and Welsh. This is a resolution amending a subsection 13.32.165.D1 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws to add language regarding compliance with guidelines to the sidewalk cafe dining rules and regulations. Chair Parker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Withdraw.
Okay, this bill has been withdrawn. Okay. Next is agenda item 4, resolution 2025-1353, sponsors Porterfield and Gadd. This is a resolution approving the appointment of additional hearing officers by the Independent Metropolitan Board of Equalization to conduct preliminary hearings and to make investigations regarding complaints before the board. Ms. Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports. Budget and Finance voted on RS 2025-1353, 12 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Move for approval.
Okay. Is there a second on the motion to approve? Okay, it's properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no? Any abstaining? Okay. Mr. Clerk, if you would please record Ms. Benedict as an abstention on resolution 1353. All right. Okay. You have adopted this resolution. Moving on now to agenda item 6, resolution 2025-1355, sponsors Porterfield, Gadd, Vo, and Welsh. This is a resolution to approve the criteria for operating support and Thrive grants for fiscal year 2026 for the Metropolitan Nashville Arts Commission. Sponsor Porterfield, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports. Budget and Finance voted for RS 2025-1355 and voted 12 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, and for the report of the Arts, Parks, and Libraries Committee, Chair Gadd, you're recognized.
Yes, Madam President. The Arts, Parks, Library, and Entertainment Committee voted to approve this resolution, 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 present not voting.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Thank you. Sponsor Porterfield, is there a second? Okay, there's a motion to approve, properly seconded, and so we are now on to discussion. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no? Oh, do we have to go on the boards? Okay, because it is a resolution that has only one reading with a no vote, our rules do require that we have a roll call vote. With that, Mr. Clerk, if you would please load the machine. Okay, we're still missing several votes, colleagues. Those wishing to vote on this resolution, please do so. This requires a simple majority. Again, knowing we have a no vote, we have to have a roll call vote. Okay, all votes are in. Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. All right, you have adopted this resolution. The motion to approve passes with 27 votes in favor, 3 against, and 1 abstention. Okay, moving on next then to agenda item 11. This is Resolution 2025-1360, sponsors Porterfield, Evans, Vaux, and Ellis. This is a resolution approving agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metro Board of Health and Vanderbilt University Medical Center to provide clinical teaching experiences to individuals in the graduate medical education program for pediatric residency and adult infectious diseases. All right, Ms. Porterfield, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, Budget and Finance voted 12 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting on RS 2025-1360.
Okay, next to Chair Evans for the report of the Public Health and Safety Committee, please, ma'am.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We recommended approval, 6 in favor, 1 against, and 1 not voting.
Move for approval.
Okay, there is a motion to approve. It is properly seconded, and we're on to discussion. First in the queue is Councilmember Benedict. You are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for a roll call vote.
Okay, are there seconds on that? Okay, that's an appropriate number of seconds. Okay, so there will be a roll call. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we will move to the vote. Mr. Clerk, if you could please load the vote. Again, this requires a simple majority. Ms. Kimbrough, are you seeking to vote? Okay. Are all votes in, Mr. Clerk? Please show the vote. Okay, this resolution has passed with 18 votes in favor, 9 against, and 5 abstentions. Next among our resolutions is Agenda Item 25, Resolution 2025-1374. Sponsor Swara, Vaux, Ellis, Taylor, Gamble, Toombs, Stiles, Prep T, and GAD. This is a resolution supporting the passage of the John Lewis R. Voting Rights, which should be the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act of 2025 in the United States Congress. Sponsor Swara, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
For the report of the Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee, Chair Prep T on 1374, please, sir.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. The committee voted on this by a margin of 6 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, all right. It is back to you, Sponsor Swara.
Before I move for approval, I have a question. Like you rightly noted, the R was misplaced.
Okay.
It should be John R. Lewis instead of John Lewis R. Is this something that the clerk will correct? Every other citation, everything is correct, but just putting the R in the wrong place. I want to be on record to say that we want to correct that. And we do that.
Okay, let's see. So typically, the amendment of a caption requires a substitution. Obviously, this is in a very housekeeping space. Is Mr. Lewis also referred to as John Lewis R. in the body of the legislation, or is it just the caption? Okay, so it is just a typographical error in the caption and one time in the body? Okay. All right. Is there any objection to a suspension of the rules to take up a floor amendment? Okay. So typically, colleagues, you amend the caption, but this is a typographical error for a gentleman of historic significance whom we all know. And so is there any objection to a floor amendment to address these two typographical errors? Seeing none, the rules are somewhat suspended in this regard. So could you make, please, let's see. First, we need to get the bill before us. And then once we're there, if you would just make a verbal amendment, okay? So if you could please move the resolution first.
I'd like to move the resolution.
Okay, there's a second? Yes, okay. Properly moved and seconded, it's before us. Okay, back to you, Ms. Swara.
Then I'd like to move an amendment to correct the caption to make it John R. Lewis instead of John Lewis R.
Okay, and as well, the portion of the body that Mr. Clerk and staff are aware of. Is there a second for that amendment? Okay. Let's just go ahead and dispose of that amendment at this juncture, right? Okay, all in favor of this amendment, please say aye. Any voting no? Any abstaining? Okay, it's duly amended, and so if you would please get it back before us as amended, please.
Thank you. I'd like to move the resolution as amended with a comment.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. In our country, white men were given the right to vote in 1776. White women in 1920. The 15th Amendment in 1970 actually did give black the right to vote, but many states did not do this. And so the Voting Rights Act was not passed until 1965 that gave black and minority right to vote. The problem that we have since is that there's been so many challenges to that Voting Rights Act, and there's so many instances of voter suppression. This particular bill came to me from Dr. Quintessa Hathaway as part of a group that are trying to encourage Congress to pass the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. And so the act is in Congress, it's already been filed, and so this is a resolution supporting that. What this act will basically do, there's 4 sections to it. It's basically going to look at, and I cannot find it, and that is okay. But basically, in context, it's going to reaffirm the Voting Rights Act of 1965, but also make a lot of correction and a lot of things to make sure that we curb or reduce voting suppression. And so with that, I ask for your approval.
All right, is there any further discussion on the motion to approve this resolution as amended? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, you have adopted this resolution as amended. All right, that concludes our regular resolutions. Next, we have Agenda Section L, Agenda Item L1. This is a late resolution. Sponsors are Gregg, Cap, Porterfield, and Gadd. This is a resolution approving Amendment 3 to a Transportation Alternatives Program, a TAP grant from the Tennessee Department of Transportation, aka TDOT, to the Metro government acting by and through the Metro Nashville Parks and Recreation Department to provide funding for the construction of a multimodal path and elevated boardwalk from the Cumberland River pedestrian bridge to the Opry Mills complex. Mr. Gregg, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to request a suspension of the rules.
Okay, let me go then to Chair Prep T on the nature of the suspension of the rules. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. The committee discussed this late file resolution, and the reason for the late file is that this particular resolution is needed to accept a grant proposal. Without it, we'll lose out on that funding. And so with that, the committee voted 6 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting to suspend the rules.
Okay, having heard the report of Chair Prep T and the request of Councilman Gregg, is there any objection to the suspension of the rules to take up this resolution? Seeing none, the rules are suspended. So it's to you, Councilman Gregg, and we'll need to request first your other committee reports, sir.
Committee reports, please.
Okay. Chair Gadd for the report of the Arts, Parks, Libraries, and Entertainment Committee, please, ma'am.
Yes, Madam President. The committee voted 6 in favor, 0 against, and 1 present not voting to support it.
All right. And for the report of the Budget and Finance Committee, Chair Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted 12 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay. All righty. So it's back to you for a motion on your bill, Mr. Gregg.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for approval.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. There's a motion to approve properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, this resolution has passed. All right, next are bills on introduction and first reading, section M of our agenda. All items on first reading shall be voted on at the same time unless requested either by the primary sponsor individually or by 2 or more other members to be removed from first reading consideration. Do any items need to be removed from first reading consideration in a collective vote? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion for approval of all items on first consideration? Okay, properly seconded. Without objection, without objection, you have approved all items on first reading. All right, now we are on to bills on second reading that were not on consent. And first among those are agenda items 32 and 33. They are companions to each other. Sponsor Parker. Agenda item 32 is ordinance BL 2025-860, and agenda item 33 is 861. 860 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from RS10 to SP zoning for properties located at 2819, 2821, 2823 Jones Avenue and Jones Avenue unnumbered, approximately 43 feet south of Hart Lane. This is 8.27 acres to permit 84 multifamily residential units. And 861 is an ordinance that requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of the buildings on the properties in 860. Mr. Parker, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm still anticipating having another community meeting about this one, but I am okay with it moving on to third.
Okay.
And if we need to bump it on third to accommodate the meeting schedule, then we'll do so at that time.
Okay,
so I'd like to move approval.
Okay, Chair Parker has moved approval of 860 and its companion 861. It's properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no? Any abstaining? Okay, 860 and 861 have passed their second of 3 readings. All right, next is agenda item 34. This is ordinance BL 2025-896. Sponsor Kim, pardon? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we moved that to the front of the agenda earlier. Just that bill was withdrawn. Just to clarify, no longer on our agenda. Ms. Kimbrough's 896 was withdrawn at the top of the agenda. Thank you. Next, though, is agenda item 35, ordinance BL 2025-897. Sponsors Druffel and Allen. This is an ordinance to amend sections 15.64.01 and 15.64.130 and 15.64.131 of the Metro Code of Laws pertaining to the residential infill regulation of artificial turf, multifamily structures, infill tree credits, and development plan submission requirements, and requiring commensurate updates to the Stormwater Management Manual. Councilman Druffel, you are recognized, sir.
Yeah, thanks, President. Committee reports, please.
Okay. Chair Parker for the report of Transportation and Infrastructure, please, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We considered the amendment, recommended approval of that, 7 in favor, 0 against, and 0 not voting. And on the legislation as amended, we also recommended approval, gained a member. We had 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 not voting.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Back to you, Mr. Druffel, for a motion on your bill to get it before us.
I move for approval with brief comment.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
With all the extreme water events that we're having and we're seeing all over the United States, I think this goes a long ways to plug in some holes, pun intended, for preventing some of the stormwater issues. We were able to go into the multi-unit and then also include tree credits, which is one of the best ways to support and mitigate some of the stormwater. It's amazing these large trees can take 5,000 gallons of water and soak them in. So I move for approval.
All right. There is a motion to approve, and it is properly seconded. And we are on to discussion. Chair Parker, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I wonder if the lead sponsor would like to move the amendment or if he would like me to do it.
Yes, Mr. Druffel, I see Ms. Allen is not present. She was the author of amendment. I understand it's a friendly amendment. So do you want to move that, sir?
Yeah, she was going, I'll move the amendment 1.
Okay. Chair Parker, do you want to provide an explanation of the amendment, or Mr. Druffel, do you want to explain what the amendment is, or you could just share that it's friendly?
Yeah, very quickly, there was some question on definition. We met with water and stormwater last week, and we revised the definition, and it took a little bit of work on turf. Otherwise, that was pretty much consistent with what our intentions are.
Okie dokes. All right, so this bill is properly before us for approval. There is now a motion to amend with Ms. Allen's amendment that is properly seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, so it's back to you for a motion to amend, or rather approve as amended.
A motion to approve with Amendment 1.
Okay, is there a second? All right, is there any discussion on this ordinance on second reading as amended? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. Okay, it's passed its second of 3 readings as amended. Next is agenda item 36, ordinance BL 2025-906, sponsor Parker, Porterfield, and Hill. This is an ordinance amending certain sections of subsections of chapter 2.62, 12.56, 13.02, 13.08, 13.2, and 13.32 of the Metro Code of Laws to allow the Nashville Department of Transportation, NDOT, and also Multimodal Infrastructure to increase its permit and administrative fees over time as necessary. Mr. Parker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. May I make a point of order?
Yes,
perhaps,
go ahead,
or
sir.
Point of inquiry. For Director Darby, so we had in Transpo, we had consideration of a substitute and then a recommendation to defer as substituted 1 meeting. In subsequent committees, we had, I think, just recommendations for 1 meeting deferral. So is this deferred by rule because there was a 1 meeting deferral in another committee?
Go ahead, Special Counsel.
Yeah, I think all the committees had a 1 meeting deferral, so it should be deferred by rule. The substitute will have to come back before the committees.
Thank you. And we need those committee reports now, don't we?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Transportation and Infrastructure recommended approval of the substitute, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. And we recommended a 1 meeting deferral as substituted, 9 in favor, 0 against, and 0 not voting.
Okay. Thank you for that. Budget and Finance, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance consider BL 2025-906 and voted 12 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for a 1 meeting deferral.
Okay. Government Operations, Chair Hill, I apologize, Vice Chair Eastlick, on Mr. Parker's 906. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
You got the B team over here.
Yeah.
Government Ops voted 6 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for a one meeting deferral.
Okay. So typically, with all committees having recommended or a one meeting deferral, that's a Rule 8.1. It's automatic. So we will take up the substitute that later, next time. Okay. That is deferred by rule. All right. Agenda item 38, ordinance BL 2025-910, sponsor Porterfield, Hill, and Euing. This is an ordinance approving a revocable license agreement between the Metropolitan government and acting by and through the Metro Department of Human Resources and Operation Stand Down Tennessee for the use of office space. Ms. Porterfield, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports. Budget and Finance considered Bill 2025-910 and voted 12 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for a one meeting deferral.
Okay. For the report of GovOps, Vice Chair Eastlick, you're recognized again.
Thank you. Government Ops voted 6 for, 0 against, 0 not voting for approval.
Okay, say it again, but use in favor, sir.
Oh, in favor, voted 6 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for approval.
Okay, got it. Throw those fours in there, it starts getting kind of confusing. Okay. All right, and for the report of the Planning and Zoning Committee, I do not see Chair Gamble. Ms. Vice Chair Rutherford, you're recognized.
Thank you. Planning and Zoning recommended approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Okay, all right. With all committees recommending,
Deferred by rule.
Okay, the one meeting deferral, I apologize, thank you. That is per Rule 8.1, mandatory deferral. Okay.
Thank you.
That will be deferred on its, where are we? Second reading. Okay. Now, agenda item 39, ordinance BL 2025-911, sponsor Porterfield and Gamble. This is an ordinance approving a lease agreement between the Metro government and of Nashville and through the Mayor's Office of Emergency Management, OEM, and the Department of General Services and the Community Resource Center for use of a warehouse at 801 Anderson Lane in Madison, Tennessee. Ms. Porterfield, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, Budget and Finance voted on Bill 2025-911. 12 in favor, 0
I mean,
against.
like, what are the odds that a bill about OEM has the bill number 911?
Right,
Just
period.
saying.
Exactly. Voted 12 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voted for a one meeting deferral.
Okay. All right. Mr. Rutherford, yeah, I mean, by rule, one committee, but go ahead, sir, Vice Chair, on the report of the Planning and Zoning Committee.
Planning and Zoning recommended approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Okay, so that was approval recommendation, but by rule, with the Planning and Zoning Committee having recommended a one meeting deferral per Rule 8.1, that is a mandatory deferral of one meeting for this ordinance on second reading. All right. All right, that concludes our items on second reading. Now we're moving into section O of our agenda. Are we about to lose quorum? Okay, Ms. Weiner, if you could remain in the room so we can retain quorum, please, and or Mr. Cortez. Okay, we have quorum again. All right. Section O, bills on third reading. First, among those, I do not see our sponsor, but you're signed on, Ms. Ellis, okay? These are agenda items 53 and its companion 54, sponsor Lee, and I understand that Ms. Ellis has signed on. These are ordinance BL 2025-752 and 753. 752 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from AR to A to SP zoning for properties located at 5788 Cane Ridge Road and Cane Ridge Road unnumbered, approximately 285 feet southeast of Cane Ridge Road. This is 39.27 acres to permit 58 single-family lots and 74 townhome multifamily dwelling units. Okay. Ms. Ellis, to clarify, when we get to our final motion, we can combine these two companion bills. But as only 752 has a potential proposed amendment, if you would please just move 752 first to get it before us, please, ma'am.
So moved.
Okay, you also need to inquire for your committee reports, please. Vice Chair Rutherford, for the report of the Planning and Zoning Committee. And if you could, sir, you can go ahead and give it for 752 and 753.
Planning and Zoning recommended the amendment, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Okay.
And recommended the bill as amended, 8 in favor and 0 against. And on the companion bill, also 8 in favor, 0 against.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, Ms. Ellis, got that a little bit out of order. That's my bad, but we have 752 before us to approve and properly seconded. So we are on to discussion, at which time a motion to amend is a proper motion.
Yeah, motion to amend, and can I also move the substitute?
There's not a substitute. It has already been substituted previously, so there is a proposed amendment.
Okay, got it. Okay, yeah, so I want to move to approve.
Okay, you want to move to amend?
Amendment, yeah.
Oh, okay, all good. Anything you want to say about the amendment or on behalf of Ms. Lee at this time?
No.
Not necessary, okay. So there is a motion to amend. Is there a second? Okay. We are on discussion of the motion to amend. Is anyone seeking to be recognized regarding the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay. So at this juncture with the amendment on, what I would suggest is a motion to approve 752 as amended and also to approve its companion 753.
So moved.
All right. Is there a second? Okay. Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve 752 is amended and its companion 753? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay. These bills have passed their third and final reading as amended. All right. Next is Agenda Item 58, Ordinance BL 2025-866, sponsor Kimbrough. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from RM6NS to RS15, and RS15 to RM15ANS zoning for properties located at 3821 Ashland City Highway, 3825 Ashland City Highway, and 3825 number 1 through 6 Ashland City Highway, approximately 225 feet southeast of Abernathy Road. This is 1.26 acres. Ms. Kimbrough, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move to defer this until the first meeting, September.
Okay, let's first get our committee reports, please, ma'am. Okay. Vice Chair Rutherford for the report of Planning and Zoning.
Planning and Zoning voted to recommend approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Okay, all right. So with that committee report in now, go ahead with your deferral motion, Ms. Kimbrough.
I'd like to move to defer until the first meeting in September.
Okay, there is a motion to defer this ordinance on third reading to the first meeting in September?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second for that motion? Okay, it's properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion to defer 866 to the first meeting in September? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no? Any abstaining? Okay, 866 is deferred to the first meeting, its third reading to the first meeting in September. All right, next are agenda items 60 and 61. They are companions to each other. Ordinance BL 2025-868 and 869, sponsor Evans. 868 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from RS 15 to SP zoning for properties located at 4222, 4226, and 4278 Central Pike. This is 27 acres. It's approximately 765 feet east of South New Hope Road. This is to permit 314 multifamily residential units. Ms. Evans, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I need to move a one-meeting deferral, please.
Do you want to get your committee reports at this juncture?
I guess. Okay. Committee reports, please.
All right. Vice Chair Rutherford, the report of Planning and Zoning.
Planning and Zoning voted to recommend approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Okay. All right. On both these bills, sir, the companions.
Sorry about that. On both. That includes the companion.
Okay. All righty. With that back to you, Ms. Evans. I think a consolidated motion to defer both bills?
Yes, I would love to do a consolidated motion to defer both bills, one meeting, please.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, there is a motion to defer 868 and its companion 869, one meeting to the first meeting in August. Is there any discussion on that deferral motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, both these two bills will be on their third and final reading again at the first meeting in August. All right. Now we're on to agenda item 64 and 65. Again, they are companions to each other. Ordinance BL 2025-872 and 873. Both sponsor Benton. 872 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from AR2A to SP zoning for a portion of property located at 3187 Franklin Limestone Road, approximately 1,178 feet southwest of Mullins Circle. This is 23.48 acres to permit industrial uses. And again, its companion 873. This proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of any buildings in Ordinance 872. All right, Mr. Benton, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We would like to...
You need to first ask for your committee report, sir.
Oh, that's sorry.
Okay.
Committee reports, please.
Yeah. Vice Chair of Planning and Zoning, Mr. Rutherford, you're recognized.
Planning and Zoning considered 872 and its companion, voting 8 in favor and 0 against on both.
Okay. All right. Now it's back to you, Mr. Benton, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to have a one-meeting deferral, and that way we have a chance to have another meeting with the community.
Okay. So there is a motion to defer one meeting. Is there a second for that motion? Okay, it's properly moved and seconded. Okay, so we are on to discussion on the motion to defer the third and final reading of both of these bills to the first meeting in August. Okay. Ms. Evans-Siegel, do you seek to be recognized? Okay, on the motion to defer. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate the council members' willingness to defer this to engage the committee more. I would just like to add a little bit of color to some of the engagement that's been happening. One of the comments we heard over and over again was the amount of truck traffic coming from roughly Murfreesboro Pike to the northern Vulcan entrance on Franklin Limestone Road, which is different from the southern part of Franklin Limestone Road in grade and width and adjacent uses. And one thing I've been working with a council member and NDOT and Vulcan Materials to clarify what uses are allowed on that portion of the road. And at first it looked like there were no truck restrictions on that part of the road. We've been successful in other parts of town to put truck restrictions on where people live near quarries. And Vulcan was actually able to find an old truck restriction sign that was faced away from the road. And so that is helping NDOT determine if there actually is already in place a truck restriction. And if not, we're going to look at putting forward before traffic and parking an actual truck restriction from the northern part of Vulcan with Vulcan's blessing, because they've actually been really helpful in this. And they're also putting up signage themselves to force everybody to turn right out of their facility instead of going left anyway. But we still have to worry about access from Murfreesboro Pike. And so I want the residents to know that we're working really hard on getting that truck traffic off the road, because we have heard them loud and clear. And it sounds super dangerous, and it sounds like it's not appropriate for the width of the road.
All right, and I presume the deferral will allow more time to address that issue. Okay, is anyone else seeking to be recognized on the motion to defer one meeting? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, 872 and 873 are deferred one meeting. Thank you, community members who I know waited a really, really long time to hear about that deferral. Okie dokes. All right. Moving on to agenda items 66 and 67. Ordinance BL 2025-874 and its companion 875, both sponsors, sponsor Kimbrough. 874 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro Government of Nashville and Davidson County, by changing from RS10 to SP zoning for property located at Kings Lane, unnumbered, approximately 122 feet east of Haynes Park Drive. This is 5.09 acres to permit 48 multifamily residential units, all of which is described here in, and again, 875. Its companion, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings in 874. Ms. Kimbrough, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
For the report of Planning and Zoning, Vice Chair Rutherford.
Planning and Zoning considered 874 and its companion, recommended approval, 8 in favor and 0 against of both.
Okay. Back to you, Ms. Kimbrough, for a consolidated motion on these bills.
Yes, I'd like to move to defer this until the first meeting in September.
Okay, so there is a motion to defer 874 and 875 to the first meeting in September?
Correct.
Okay, is there a second for that motion? Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the deferral motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, 874 and 875 will have their third reading deferred to the first meeting in September. Next are agenda items 69 and 70, sponsor Styles. 877 and 879 are companions to each other. Ms. Evans, are you going to sign on? Okay, all right, so let me just read the captions and get them into the record. Okay, so now this is sponsor Styles and Evans. An ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro Government, by amending a portion of Ridgeview UDO for property located at Eagle View Boulevard, unnumbered, at the northeast corner of Eagle View Boulevard and Baby Ruth Lane, zoned MUL and RM9. This is 14.57 acres to permit 376 multifamily residential units. Its companion, 878, requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings, referenced in 872. That said, Ms. Evans, there is an amendment for 877. So let's get 877 so we can amend it, then you can put them together and we can pass them. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to ask for committee reports, please.
Vice Chair Rutherford, you're recognized.
Planning and Zoning considered 877 and voted on the amendment, 8 in favor, 0 against. And on the bill as amended, 8 in favor and 0 against. And on its companion, also 8 in favor, 0 against.
All righty. Okay, Ms. Evans, let's get 877 before us, please, ma'am.
Yes, I'd like to move approval on the amendment, please.
Okay, so Ms. Evans is moving approval of 877. Is there a second? Okay, now you need to move to amend.
Yes, may I amend the
Okay.
whole shebang?
Okay, there is a motion, okay, so the bill 877 is properly before us. Now there is a motion to amend. Is there anything you want to say about this amendment?
No. Thank you.
Okay. No. Okay, is there any discussion on the motion to amend? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any voting no or abstaining? All right, now it's back to you for a consolidated motion for approval of 877 as amended, along with its companion 878.
Thank you. I'd like to move.
Just say so moved.
So moved. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Excellent. Y'all, when I state a very long amendment like that, y'all can just say that. Is there a second? I heard a second. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. 877 has been approved as amended on its third and final reading, along with 878. Okay, we've still got agenda items 78 and 79, sponsor Webb. These are ordinances BL 2025-888 and its companion 889. 888 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from R10 to SP zoning for properties located at 127, 131, 135 Liberty Lane and Liberty Lane unnumbered, approximately 800 feet east of Conference Drive. This is 4.93 acres to permit 240 multifamily residential units. As well, 889, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings that are in 888. Ms. Webb, this is the exact same scenario as with Ms. Evans. Okay, let's move 888 to get it before us so we can amend it, but you also have to ask for your committee reports. All right. Thank you, Ms. Webb. I got it. Vice Chair Rutherford for Planning and Zoning, please, sir.
Planning and Zoning considered 888 and voted 8 in favor, 0 against on the amendment, 8 in favor, 0 against on the bill as amended, and 8 in favor, 0 against on the companion.
Yes, thank you, sir. Okay, back to you, Ms. Webb, to get 888 before us, please, ma'am.
Move as amended?
Nope, can't do that.
Can't do that?
You can move approval of 888.
Move approval for 888.
Is there a second? Okay, now you can move your amendment.
Move as amended.
No.
Oh, move the amendment.
All right, is there a second? Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend? Seeing none, all in favor of the amendment? Okay, all right. Now, hey, I get you. But now what I'm going to suggest to you is that you make a motion to approve 888 as amended, along with the approval of its companion 889.
Motion to
You say so moved.
Oh, so moved.
All right. Is there a second? Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Do you have a, don't even go there, Mr. Parliamentarian. Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, that has passed as amended, 888 and 889 on its third and final reading. This does conclude our agenda. Our next council meeting will be on Tuesday, August the 5th. Is there a motion to adjourn? We are adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.